that kind of talk. Now just stop it. It upsets me.
It seems as though we're in the midst of a Shakespearean tragedy as the wobbly jowls of Gordon Brown feature large on the front pages of the papers, gleefully charting the precipitous fall from grace of dear Prudence. He was one of the lucky chancellors who got out of the job in time before anything disastrous happened on his watch. Sure, there were the billions spent on public services with no measurable effect, the raid on pensions, the running down of the armed forces, the fortunes thrown away on computer systems that don't work, and the vast debt incurred to keep everything going. But his time at the Treasury was a protected one. Anything that went wrong could usually be smoothed over with a sprinkling of Tony Blair's pixie dust. A warm smile, a twinkle in the eye, and everything was forgotten. And for 10 years he eyed Tony's job. For 10 years he yearned to take the role that had been denied him, that he was born for, that he knew he deserved more than the grinning oaf who'd beaten him to it. So he waited, and he fumed, and he plotted, but at last he was called up from the engine room to take the bridge, where he finally pulled on the captain's hat and took the wheel of HMS Great Britain. But the ship that seemed to sail serenely from his place below decks now doesn't look so safe. There are a few problems that the previous captain has left. The party finances, the Northern Rock, ID cards, the lost discs, the army, everywhere he looks. More problems to sort out. He felt sure he'd inherited a stable craft in good condition, whose majestic progress on the high seas of international approval would flatter its new master. But things are not that rosy. We're running out of fuel, we've drunk the bar dry and thrown up on the carpet. We're surrounded by icebergs and the ship's on fire. No wonder he looks glum. He's just realised that he's the late replacement for the captain of the Titanic. Hello, kids.
Hi, Dad.
Hello. Boy, you've cut that out for a start. It's Helen Through the Glasses' last day.
Yeah.
Glasses' last day.
Did you get some cake?
I did, yeah. Ooh, so yummy. Cake. Who bought the cake then? Don't tell me a listener sent it in.
No.
Right.
And if they did, I would not eat it.
Good woman. Everything that the listener sends in that is comestible must immediately go in the big round file,
yes.
Right, in case there
is anthrax in it.
Well, yeah, in case, no offence, they're crazy. So how does it feel? Last day?
Strange.
Strange, a little bit odd. You're going up to,
North.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Of your own free will.
Nobody's making me do that. No, I'm going. I've bought a ticket.
Right. A one-way ticket.
Yeah.
To hell.
Yes.
I've never actually been to Liverpool. How is it? Delightful,
It's all right.
I bet.
Yeah, you'd love it.
All right.
It's okay. You'd like it.
Okay. You're not selling it to me. All right, okay. It's like, meh.
It's lovely.
Ah, now we're getting somewhere. I knew we'd get to the truth in the end. Lovely, is it?
Yeah.
Right, tell us about the loveliness that is Liverpool.
It's got a big river.
Oh, well, you should have said river. Water has it got? Water it's got.
Water. It has got plenty of water. Yeah.
Oh, I've only finished half of that cake and it's staring at me, but I can't eat it until we go for a long break. Can you sort out some long breaks for us, Alex? Because I was smacking, I was macking my lips as I was reading out that intro there.
You've probably got a big sugar rush now, have you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I missed out on the cake. Is there any left?
Not for you, Alex, no.
Oh, go on, give him a bit.
No. No, I'm falling out with him.
Please, miss.
No.
He's my best friend.
You can share some of yours.
Yeah, right. I've never seen him before in my life. Who are you? Hey, did you see The Queen last night? Not the Queen, but
Which one?
The documentary called The Queen.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't on last night. I watched it last night. I think it was on the night before. The first episode in this long, expected and predicted documentary. This thing where the Queen was famously told to be storming out of a photo shoot, when in fact she was... Well, we were told she was storming in, but it wasn't much of a storm in real life, because when you actually come to see her do it, it's not much of a... I mean, me storming out, you'd notice. Her, not so much.
You can't really storm in, can you?
Well, not dressed like that, no.
Right.
I mean, you
what
can't...
was she dressed like? Because I've not seen it.
It's like she was dressed like to go into battle. I'm sure it was...
Well, she had armour on.
Made of Kevlar, yeah. Must have weighed a ton. She could barely move, let alone storm.
Didn't she have the full Queen outfit?
Yeah, the Order of the Garter, whatever that is. Does anybody have any idea what that is?
Does she have a tiara?
Yeah.
Well, you can't storm in with all that heavy material.
No, you can you can barely creep in on all fours. You need a crane to winch her into position. And so she'd been, apparently, this is the most complicated dressy-uppy thing that is available to the Queen to wear on occasions such as, you know, whatever occasion requires the Order of the Garter. You don't know what I'm talking about now. But apparently it's one of the most complicated outfits she has to prize herself into. And it requires, you know, no end of people faffing around her and prizing her into it with shoehorns, I bet. And, and with rivet guns, stapling it to her. And it's taken hours to get to the position of loveliness with which she greeted Annie Leibovitz, the Uber photographer.
Uber-duber.
Whatever that means. And Annie Leibovitz looked like, well, she looked like Catweasel on a bad day. She looked like a tramp. She was just wandering around, taking a peek. And she got a camera slung over her shoulder, which didn't look any different, really, to the sort of camera that a mild enthusiast would use to point at birds.
She must be over 100 now, Annie.
Who? Annie Leibovitz?
Yeah.
No, she's not.
Oh, she must be.
No, she's not. Well, she's got grey hair right enough, but she's not that old. No. I mean, she's nowhere near as old as her Madge. But Annie Leibovitz, she had half an hour. Now, you remember the pictures that she produced, right? Seeing her do these pictures, you think, well, nothing's going to come of this. I could wander in and take snaps like that. She didn't seem to be making much of an effort, let alone have, you know, a great mastery of her craft. But the pictures she produced by just snapping away were absolutely extraordinary. You can remember them, right? Where the Queenie is standing by the door or sitting by the door, and she's just photographed with natural light, and they look absolutely stunning. And you'd think that a picture of that quality would take, you know, an army of people and technicians and lighting and, you know, people powdering the lens and whatever it is that you have to do to get a top shot. But she was just chatting and snapping, which is why she's an Uber photographer. Yeah, that's why she's paid the big bucks. But anyway, there was a little bit of that, and a lot of things surrounding the Queen, but hardly anything of the actual Queen herself. I mean, they made this trumpeting announcement about how the BBC had been given access, which had been, you know, uncommonly granted, and never before has anybody peered inside the Queen's life in this respect. And we were an outsider, a stranger, for almost the entirety of the documentary. It's as though they hadn't had any access at all. They'd been given great access to everybody that the Queen may meet, including the President of the United States of America.
Absolutely.
And he was chatting away. You know, when he talks, when George Bush actually speaks...
you know...
He seems like a nice man. Is that an unpatriotic thing to say? He seems like a jovial kind of...
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Like the sort of bloke you wouldn't mind having a drink with. Gordon Brown,
we hate him, don't we?
I think we've positioned ourselves, we painted ourselves into the corner of hating him, because this, it doesn't matter who is in charge of America. I think the automatic default position of left-wing liberal types is that whatever is that America is doing, we don't like it. Oh, and by the way, can we have some more burgers and a cheap pair of Levi's and the latest album by Puff Doody?
We liked Clinton, didn't we? Or did we like him in retrospect?
That's often the case with leaders. Like, if you ask people about Margaret Thatcher, well, there's a sharp intake of breath in this audience, the clenching of the fist. But people are more keen on Margaret Thatcher, and indeed Tony Blair. You remember Tony Blair, don't you?
No.
In his absence, people think, oh, well, you know what, he wasn't actually that bad, compared to, you know.
the one before.
Yeah, but I don't know. The President POTUS actually came across as engaging. I suppose he does engaging for a living in much the same way as the politicians over here do.
I suppose he must have some charm, mustn't he? If he's the I mean, you can't just land that job.
No, you have to schmooze.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And he does schmooze very, very well. He doesn't do public speaking very well, but then neither do I. But I'm not the leader of the free world.
Yeah, but you are getting paid to speak.
Oh, yeah. Well, so's he. Get paid a hell of a lot more than me, that's for sure.
Well, I think it's like you said, people vote for people who they like, don't they? And there's that's always been in American politics.
Yes.
And he's likeable. He might not be the brightest.
No, very likeable, that's right.
And I'm sure it's not his personal policies that are being put into place.
I'm sure he's as surprised as the rest of us.
Yeah.
When he's told what to say, yeah.
You can see it on his face.
Exactly, yeah. We're doing what now? But no, if he was just a person who didn't know what he did for a living, you'd think, oh, not bad. But I was just surprised at the lack of actual contact with the Queen that the BBC had after spending a year with her. Now, I know that it was an hour and a half, and it was only the first of several, but you'd think that the first programme would give you a flavour of what's to come. And what's to come is, if that's any indication, will be a lot of chatting with ladies-in-waiting and people who are painting buildings for the Queen's arrival. There's a lot of that. She must smell fresh paint everywhere she goes.
Do you think it's because of what's happened with how it blew up about the storm in, storm out? They've just been uber careful to not portray her in any bad light whatsoever.
Or any kind of light whatsoever. They didn't want to make a position of any kind. I'm past a break. I've got to come back. We'll talk about this some more. If you saw that Queen documentary, give us a ring. Tell me what you thought. 0845 6060 973. It's 7:16. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. The A2 in Bermondsey is still closed heading out of town between East Street and Albany Road following a police incident. It's still causing delays.
And him.
That cake was really yummy. Did you buy it yourself?
Made it myself.
You did not
No,
make it
I did not.
yourself. That's a relief. We only want bought things, not homemade.
No.
So, in some places, the person whose birthday it is, or who's leaving, or whatever, buys the cake themselves. And in other places, the cake is bought for them. Like if it's your birthday, sometimes you have to go out and buy a big tray of donuts.
Yeah.
But in other places, other people, and you think that this would be more appropriate, would buy you donuts, it being your birthday. Is it your birthday?
No.
Oh, right. Well, I take that back then.
No.
It's so yummy.
Did you get a donut as well?
No.
Oh.
That would be over-egging my pudding.
Who had the donut? Oh. There's a donut gone.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Somebody had more than one donut? More than their fair share? You're kidding. Nothing for you, Alex.
That was my donut.
Yeah, your donut.
I've fallen out with them.
Oh, dear. Anyway, the Mail about the Queen thing. Did no one see the Queen thing? Like, no one at all? 0845 6060 973. I know a significant number did. Almost the same amount as watched that stupid Get Me Out of the Jungle thing.
How was it filmed? Was it the commentary? Was it talking heads? Was there long panning shots of...
A little bit of everything. And mostly it was talking to people preparing for the Queen's arrival in wherever it might be. The White House or, in hotels and so on. Okay. And they were preparing a hotel with, and because it's the Queen, it had to be new everything. It had to be brand new sheets that no one had ever slept on before, but then they washed them 4 times in case... What? Why? The same thing with the towels. Toilets had to have brand new seats, unused by another human bottom.
Wow.
Just for the Queen.
Was she going to use these toilets?
Well, the Queen does not use the toilet, she's the Queen.
Alex, you should know that.
Really? You get no cake.
Oh, Dad.
And you can't imagine the Queen staying in a hotel room, like even a 5-star hotel room, because you can't even imagine the Queen staying in the White House, because they had shots of the inside of the White House, which looked like, and then the shots of what was that? Was that your stomach? I hope it wasn't mine.
Cake.
They had in conversation with the President's wife, Laura. Laura? Or is that the older one? Laura Bush?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, Laura. And she was saying, oh, you know, I personally came in and redecorated this, that and the other, because they all get to put their own stamp on the White House when they get to move in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like the inside of a Travelodge. It was... Well, I won't say it was awful, because that would be mean-spirited to the Travelodge people, but it lacked any sort of personality or soul, or it looked very corporate.
Mm.
And she was saying that, you know, how proud she was of this room and that room, and then the very second that she stopped talking, there was a panning shot of back at Buckingham Palace with two butlers walking towards us through a room the size of a football pitch, which is about 3 stories high and had chandeliers as big as all outside. So the contrast between what looked like a Travelodge, the White House, and what the Queen is actually used to was really starkly laid out. That was laugh out loud. I wonder if that was deliberately supposed to be, you know, to amuse us. But that was about the only amusing thing of it. Everything else was, well, people are bowing and scraping and nervous, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and the list of things that they told Americans that they shouldn't do, some of which were... it is not appropriate to ask the Queen for an autograph. Or to ask for your photograph to be taken with her. And then just daft things like, you know, don't shake her hand unless she shakes yours, and all of that silly stuff. What a weird world she inhabits.
Do you think the Queen jumps on the bed when she goes into a new... Like, everyone does that, don't they? When you're in a hotel room for the first time?
A jump on the bed?
That's the first thing you do.
Are
you go
5?
You go, way, and jump on the bed.
Certainly not. Not the sort of establishments that I frequent. Jumping on the bed is strictly prohibited. Let's take Lakeside. Hello, David.
Hi, good afternoon. Sorry. It's good evening.
Hey, David.
Hi, Nick.
Yeah.
I've just got a quick couple of things to say to you, but I want to ask you if I'm allowed to say them first. And what it is, it's about parking fines. Am I allowed to talk about it?
Parking fines?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a quick one, because I wanted to raise this, and I haven't been able to speak to Nick. And the thing is that...
I am Nick. Oh, you mean the big Nick? Right.
Yes, Nick. You're just as good. A fantastic show. I do tune in whenever I get the opportunity.
Right, stop sucking up and just get on with it.
Right, now, the other day, I was leaving the house, and I was kind of stopped by this strange man in a van. So I asked, you know, he kind of said, are you so-and-so? And I said, yes, I'm so-and-so. And he said, oh, we've come to take your car. And I said, why are you taking my car away? And so he said, obviously, quickly, he said, oh, you've got a park unpaid fine, it's gone to court and everything, and we're taking your car. And I said, I've absolutely paid this fine, you know, I owe nothing at all. So in fairness to him, he gave me a couple of minutes, went inside, looked for, couldn't find it that way, had to call work and say, look, you know, can't get in, all that kind of stuff. And he then proceeded to want to take the car away. So eventually, cut a long story short, I paid him, you know, over about £600 and something pounds that morning. So I got back in the evening. I thought, well, not a problem. I got back in the evening, found the receipt. It instantly forwarded the receipt because it was a Thursday or Friday. So on the following day, I forwarded the receipt to him and faxed it over, wrote a letter, said, look, this is the receipt, everything. It was paid in the bank. So they then said to me, well, actually, mate, what it is that we need to investigate and we'll get back to you. So nobody got back to me the following day. So 2 days later, somebody got back to me. And they said, oh, we'll get back to you within 28 days, although we acknowledge that you paid. So I said, well, hang on a second. You've just made a massive cock-up. You've taken my loads of money off me. You've recognized I've paid, and now I'm having to wait 28 days. Well, sorry, we can't do anything about it. That's the procedure, really.
Yeah.
So I say, well, who do you speak to about this? Oh, you can't speak to the head office because you have to go through us. Oh, so who's the manager? Well, you know, there's only one manager, and if he's...
Well, welcome to the modern world. Nobody gets to speak to anybody but the telephone answerer, whoever that might be, and wherever they may be.
Absolutely.
And if you owe money, it must be paid right now. And if they owe you money, then you can wait for until the cows come home.
Absolutely. So what I said to them, Nick, is I said, look, I understand protocol, and we all have to go through that, and that's absolutely fine. But this way, having to wait 28 days when you've made a mistake and you've recognized it, you've seen the money, for some reason you did not acknowledge that you had the money in the beginning,
right.
But that's not our fault. It's unjust to people if this is how you go about.
Well, this is how businesses run. You keep hold of the money for as long as you possibly can, and pay your debtors at the very last moment before they get marched into a court. That's how businesses are run. Unfortunately, it's called cash flow.
Absolutely unbelievable. So I said, well, I'm going to raise that, and so I'm hoping I will raise that. And if that's how task enforcement run their business, it's unbelievable. When you make a mistake, what we should do is rectify it as soon as possible and not delay, because it puts added pressure on people.
Right, well, like I said, welcome to the modern world. That's how it's run, I'm afraid. It's not run for your convenience.
That's one thing. That's definitely not so. But we do understand the protocols that they have to go through. But we need a little bit more understanding just for the ordinary guy. That doesn't matter. It's for the ordinary guy that we kind of say these things, Nick, because the ordinary guy can't afford to lose masses of money.
So you're not complaining on behalf of yourself. It's a concern for others less fortunate than you.
Well,
Are you kidding?
I'm complaining on both of us.
Yeah, okay.
I'm enjoying it
out of the goodness of your heart. All right, thanks a lot, David.
I'll speak to you later.
All right, cheers, mate. Ta-ra. And in short...
Stop whining.
LBC 97. And now came talk.
Bracknell, Jethro.
Yeah, hi. I like that Robin Hood justice for the common man approach.
Oh yeah, that's me. I care.
Yeah. Would you go into Sherwood Forest, give up all your high position and your wealth and your privilege and strike up friendship with other men in green tights?
Absolutely.
All right, fair enough. Against the horrible car parking attendants and the horrible speed fines and the horrible tax people and the horrible local government authority people that tell you what to do and when not to do it and how not to do it and when to wake up and when to go to all that,
Yeah, tell me when to wake up.
Now, I saw the Queenie programme, bits of it.
Yeah, how did you think?
I thought it was really interesting, actually. I thought it was really interesting, and I thought, same as you, I thought Bush came across quite well, actually.
Yes, he does seem very likeable, like you wouldn't mind, like he's not allowed to drink anymore, of course, because he's a drunk.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you wouldn't mind having a drink with him.
He came out as capable of stringing a few sentences together, didn't he,
I think he gets confused when he's, as would we all, when we're faced with a crowd of people and you are faced with a lot of impertinent people asking you difficult questions. But just chatting, very amiable. I mean, he has a history of winning local political elections, doesn't he? He wasn't just parachuted into the job.
Right.
He's the representative for Texas, wasn't he?
Oh, governor.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, he comes from a privileged background, doesn't he? But,
absolutely.
Well, he does, doesn't he?
No, I'm saying absolutely.
Yeah, oh, right. That's right, I thought you were contradicting.
No, not at all.
Okay, yeah, and he obviously warmed to the Queen, but I think he does see the world, global politics in black and white terms. There's the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
I think that's where he falls down. And if you're a bad guy, obviously you've got to get zapped or blown away or something. I think
well, yes and yes and no. I mean, sometimes it's good to think in black and white terms because either people are good or are doing good, or they're not. And it's the role of politics to smooth over the parts of people of their bad actions in order to improve your own lot. In other words, we ignore what the Chinese are doing to their long-suffering citizens in order to do business with them and make more money for ourselves. That's what politics is all about.
Yeah.
So really, it's there's something to be said for seeing the world in black and white.
I think I can see where you're going. Anyway, did you see the bit that interested me was the food bit? Wasn't there a lot of good nosh around?
She seems to do, and as I came into it thinking, really, what does the Queen do? She's got £600 million in the bank, no end of servants fluffing around her, and she's got a choice of palaces, which she doesn't have to pay for, at her disposal. Well, what does she actually do for all that? I mean, I know she goes to lunch and so on, but then as I was watching, I thought, blimey, you know what? I would hate to do this job. This looks like an absolute living hell. She has to smile and be pleasant nice and inquisitive and receptive to no end of people that she can't possibly want to meet or be in the same room as. And it's from one thing to the next all day long. And I don't know about you, but if I'm sat on a table with people that I don't know, trying to pretend that I'm interested or, smiling for any length of time exhausts me. She has to do it all day long. And I began to have respect for the job. In fact, it looks really, really hard.
And I imagine another thing is she's not a political figure. She's a head of state, so she actually can't have a really strong, definite opinion on something, could she? She couldn't express that publicly. In all those public engagements, she couldn't say, Gordon, I know he's Scottish, and I know I should really like him, but, I don't like his policies.
And she seems to be very aware of what's going on, very clued up, very, very intelligent. So she must have strong opinions, but she's must be biting her lip at every moment that she's actually out in public. The most interesting thing about that was her meeting Tony Blair.
I didn't see that, to tell the truth.
It was actually quite bizarre, because Tony Blair, no stranger to the camera, right? Mm-hmm. Also no stranger to the Queen. He's been seeing her on a weekly basis for 10 years. I mean, that's more often probably than he sees his kids.
Yeah.
And he came in more nervous than I've ever seen him, and more nervous than I've seen almost anybody. He was dancing around on tiptoes, and he just looked petrified.
Did he need the right guard? When he gets nervous, he's profusely sweating normally.
Right. Well, he certainly didn't take off his jacket in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen.
Oh dear.
No, but he just looked petrified, completely uncomfortable, and he didn't, as though it was the last place on earth that he wanted to be. And the Queen was doing her bit where, she tries to put everybody at their ease by asking him a few questions about whatever, no idea. But he just looked like a little rabbit caught in the headlights. But which was really odd, because none of the things that he was doing, he was a stranger to. Being on TV, being in the palace, seeing the Queen. All of these things he does, regularly, daily. And it just looked like, why so nervous?
Obviously, even these great men of politics have moments of nervousness and self-doubt, don't they?
Well, I previously had thought, meet the if by some accident I were to meet the Queen, and it wouldn't throw me. I mean, she's just a woman, right? But then seeing the nervousness of the people, many of whom were very important and famous in their own right. Seeing how they were freaked out by the possibility that they might do something wrong actually made the thought of meeting her made me nervous just sitting there.
Do you think it might happen one day? Do you think you might get your KBE or a CBE?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I'm expecting it this evening.
For services...
to be rendered, yeah.
Yeah, for media services. Can I just change the subject slightly?
Please do.
Did you happen to see PMQs today? Because I thought Vince Cable won the political satirical joke of the week, definitely.
I missed it.
Oh, it was brilliant, because dear old Gordon was undergoing somewhat of a humiliation.
Yeah.
And Cameron was lashing into him as hard as he could, but Cable came out with this joke, said that, can I quote it to you?
Please do.
He said...
Give it your best.
Oh, I can't do it word for word. It's not like, we have seen, the Prime Minister in the last week transformed from Stalin into Mr. Bean.
I object to that. Mr. Bean is a much-loved character, enjoyed by children of all ages. Gordon Brown, on the other hand...
Well, I was trying to think what were the blinking, ideas were. I got Stalin down as being centralist, authoritarian, Machiavellian, obsessed with planning, motivated to maintain a one-party state, or constantly posing as a father of the nation. So
yeah, so what on earth brought Stalin to mind? It's a mystery.
Yes. Well, yeah, he has been. Yes, well, there has been compared, isn't he, constantly to our Uncle Joe. And I thought, well, what's Mr. Bean? I haven't seen Mr. Bean a lot on TV, but he's obviously clumsy, inarticulate, unaware, ugly, slightly creepy, and physically awkward in his movements. And I thought, well...
Yeah, he was way off.
But Cable's doing better than old Merciless Ming didn't he? I mean, Cable's done better in 4 weeks than Merciless Ming did in a couple of years.
Well, it was like being savaged by sheep. Yeah, I mean, very nice man, but couldn't do Furious very well.
That's very true. That's very true. Oh, that's a big. You come out with these words so well, don't you? Can I say goodbye because I've run out of them?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, thanks then. Bye.
I've never been so happy. 0845 6060 973. I'm a little surprised about this because, you know, the Queen, what topic is more close to the nation's heart, right? Whatever you might think about the royal family, they're a bunch of skiving leeches, you know, and they're drunken and drug-taking and philandering and all the rest of it. The Queen floats above all of that. And you couldn't think of anybody who's more warmly thought of in the nation's heart than Her Majesty the Queen. And all of the minor royals, everybody that's below her, including the chap that's beside her, can screw up in no end of ways. Like he did the other day. He was meeting some people who had been married for a little while, and he asked them how long they'd been at it. He just can't help himself. Her, on the other hand... Her Majesty, famously has never put a foot wrong, so they say. This is the mantra that, you know, Brits do come out with, because it's impossible to criticise her. In fact, you'll get no points with anyone for criticising the Queen. You're on a no-win situation before you've even opened your mouth.
I wonder if she does make mistakes, it just doesn't get reported.
Well, this is what I was thinking when I was watching it. You know, the small talk that she does engage in, which is her stock in trade, really. She does small talk for a living, doesn't she? Meeting all of these people and, you know, and where do you come from and all of that stuff. She has to keep the conversation going because otherwise it's going to dry to a halt because nobody's going to start chatting. What was that?
Alex.
What was that?
Excuse me.
Was that an intake or an expellation of air?
Neither.
Well, you sat on a comedy whoopee cushion.
It's this chair, it makes a bit of
Oh, I see, that's right.
Lean on it in the right way.
Yeah, blame it on the chair. You disgust me.
There wasn't me.
Anyway, where was I?
The Queen.
Oh, yeah.
But she's very hard-working. She works harder than all of the other royals put together.
Yes, and this is also the mantra that you hear over and over again. And I'd always thought hard-working. Oh, come off. If she goes to lunch, and then she might go to dinner, have a cocktail party in between. That's not work. That's partying.
Or she's on holiday.
That's just fun, that is. But seeing her actually in operation, I couldn't do that job. I couldn't be pleasant to people. 12 hours a day. For 12 minutes it would give me face ache, smiling. But she does good smile. She gives good face. It's 7:44. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. We're still looking at those problems in Bermondsey on the...
Ta-te-tee-to-too. Ta-te-tee-to-too.
Close. No cigar. 0845 6060 973. This is the Daily Mail on that Queen thing today. It says the BBC is acting as if it's embarrassed about the documentary Monarchy, the Royal Family at Work, which is on for the next 4 weeks and is one of 2007's major productions. Promotion is pitiful. Is it because the Queen complained about being made to look as if she'd walked out of a shoot by US photographer Annie Leibovitz? The 6.9 million people who watched Monday's ultra-loyal instalment must wonder what all the fuss was about. Yeah, and I did think 6.9 million people, that's almost as many as watched that stupid I'm a Celebrity, Get My Agent on the Line. It did seem that they were just tiptoeing on eggshells so much, the BBC, that they wouldn't want to show anything that would even remotely criticise anything that she had did or was done in her name. So we're getting a snow job, really. It's just a giant PR exercise, not a documentary at all. It's an advert, practically.
What a shame.
Well, it's another lost opportunity. Yeah, I mean, not that I'm saying that there are, you know, things to be found out about her and what she does.
But it would be interesting just to see the interior of the building she occupies day in, day out.
Have you been to the palace?
No.
Right, because they do open it. Not that I've been asked to attend or anything, but they do open it. And
to see it from her point of view, to see those inner the secret room. Well, they're not secret, but they're secret to us, aren't they? But,
Yeah.
you know, to see that side of things.
Well, they do have a lot of doors that don't, that seem to disappear into the wall, and I think those are for flunkies to appear from magically with trays of Turkish delight or whatever it is that pleases Her Majesty at any given time. But yeah, you see those, and you walk down the long gallery with the paintings on either side, and you get to go and see the throne room, which is very threadbare. The throne itself, what she sits on, looks deeply uncomfortable, and it looks like it needs a bit of TLC, because much of it is. It's interesting the way when you go to stately homes and things like that, and
Sometimes,
wander
yeah,
around
yeah.
and wish that you were a millionaire in Victorian times. Yeah, me too. And you see the size of the place, and, you know, like one room you could fit your entire flat in. But they're all faded. They're very, it's all faded, and almost colourless.
Yeah.
Because they were splashed up so very long ago, and they've lost their sheen. The sort of eye-popping nature of the original decoration. Which you do see if you go to Windsor Castle. There's a couple of rooms that were burnt and have been redone in the style of. So they look as they would have done when they were new. And you virtually need sunglasses to go in there, everything's so bright. I just saw the thing, a film on Sky Plus, Marie Antoinette, is that what it was called? That thing that was done by Francis Coppola's daughter.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You almost got radiation poisoning. Everything was so bright. So that's
the very bloody film.
no, it's not bloody at all.
Oh.
It's all eating cake. All the blood came later.
What am I thinking?
We bid a fond farewell to all of that before the heads started to roll,
Right.
literally and figuratively. No, it's actually a very good film. Well, it's very good surface. It's a lot of dazzling colour on everything that's in the background. And what's actually going on in the foreground is just a lot of frolicking and eating of cake.
Were there any shots of our Queen of like her maids dressing her, or because that would be interesting?
Almost no, because the point of the programme was that we got intimate access, never before achieved by camera, into the Queen's everyday life. But that's actually not what we got at all. If she hadn't given access, and the cameras had just followed her around along with a press pack, we would have seen almost as much as we did on that show. I don't really understand what the big deal of it is. I mean, she didn't address us. She didn't like talk to anybody on behalf of us, you know, and like an interviewer. And almost nothing was sort of behind the scenes. So it was a bit unsatisfactory, really, because what you actually want is to see what goes on, you know, because we see the finished article, the show. We see her glide serenely as though a duck on water. What we don't see is the man thrashing about underneath the water to get this show on the road, which is what I thought we were going to get, but apparently not. It's, as I say, it's just like a giant snow job, an advertising campaign for the royal family.
And it must have cost a lot of money, and did you
Huge.
say it was over a year? It was a year's filming?
I believe so, yeah. I believe they were trailing her around for a year, and they got, on the basis of that hour-and-a-half first episode, nothing. Really, nothing. All they got was some shots of her food being prepared by chefs in America, and people painting, and everywhere she goes, everything's been painted.
But it must be down to her. She must, you know, well done to her for keeping her privacy. Because somehow she creates that atmosphere around her.
Right.
She's totally untouchable.
I suppose so, yeah. Like if you go to Disneyland, for instance, and you see the Imagineers, the result of their toiling, and you see the Goofy wandering around. What you don't want to see is Goofy take his head off and have a fag backstage of Space Mountain.
No.
Because that would ruin the illusion. Yeah.
You never want to see that.
So perhaps that's part of it. Not to ruin the illusion, but to give us a little blast of royalty up close.
Yeah, which you've got to admire, because there's a really famous photographer taking intimate portraits of her in front of a television crew. The BBC, a worldwide renowned, you know, industry that makes, you know, as panorama documentaries under its bells and dispatches and all kinds of stuff. and yet they can't. No one can get close to her.
Yeah, there is this sort
Incredible.
of force field, like a Star Trek type force field that surrounds her. Yeah, and put there partly by other people, because it's not necessarily her actions that make people feel not uncomfortable really, but just sort of in awe, because she's just a well-dressed, nice old lady, right? It's other people's expectations of how they should behave that roots them to the spot and turns them to stone. Sets their mouth at a slight gape, and freezes their brain.
Yeah.
It's the thought of who she is rather than who she actually is. Yeah. Anyway, it's 7:55. This is LBC 0845 6060 973.
This is LBC.
It's happening. It's wild. And it's now.
Hey, have you ever got a parking ticket on that giant chrome boat that you float around on, Alex?
Well, remember I told you I got clamped once?
Clamped? Somebody put a clamp on those beautiful wheels.
Yeah, and then they let me off because I was polite.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're 7 foot tall and hairy like a Yeti.
Well, when I was-
looked like you might crush them.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, if they damaged those nice chrome wheels.
Yeah. Is that the only occurrence? Because I once
Yeah.
got a parking ticket at on Sunday evening at 1 minute past midnight. When a warden in the rain, it was pouring down, and I came the next day, and this sodden piece of paper was attached to the front of my window, and it said that I had been parked with one wheel on the curb. Now, at this point, luckily for me, the curb was, and without exaggeration, a foot high, because of the odd nature of the road that I was parked on. So I would have had to have had
4x4.
Well, yeah, I would have had to have it actually lifted by crane onto the pavement. There's no way that I could have done it. I could have got up there even at speed. And so I had to go through this whole thing. I photographed the curb with a ruler to show them how big it was, and I eventually got out of that. But other people not so lucky. This is the Daily Mail. This is after that nice chap was talking about parking a little earlier on.
Although I almost got one the other day, and I was literally coming back in the last minute of what the time I had, I guess. And the warden was... They have a day, I've noticed now, around Notting Hill. I think it's Wednesdays. They're all out en masse.
Really?
To get tickets. Yeah, they're out in pairs, like packs, you know, of hyenas hanging around. I've noticed this. They'll come out on one day.
Hyenas?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I came back from shopping, and he was just waiting by the car. He was poised, waiting for the clock to tick over that minute. And he saw me coming, and we clocked eyes, and we didn't say anything to each other. I just gave him a look, and he gave me a look back, and I gave him more of a look, and he walked off really shiftily.
Show me your look. That's actually really quite scary.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you didn't break the glass. Good grief. Don't ever do that again. Very dangerous. Oh, I was going to read some of these. These are some tickets that were given by traffic wardens who perhaps weren't doing the best of work. But we sort of run out of time. I've only got a minute and a half now, so I'll just twiddle my fingers. I'll give you a few of them. Okay. When driver Derek Scott stopped to ask for directions, he found a parking attendant, and while being given details of how to get to his destination, another one crept up behind him and slapped a £100 ticket on his car, while he was talking to a traffic warden. An elderly woman suffered a cardiac arrest on her way to a doctor's surgery in North London. Her husband, who was driving, was forced to stop on a yellow line outside the surgery to call 999. He went in with his dying wife inside, in the ambulance. She was rushed to St Mary's Hospital in Paddington. She was dead on arrival. Her distraught husband returned to the surgery in tears, only to find that he'd been given a £100 ticket, despite a doctor's notice on his windscreen explaining the emergency. The warden's reaction: "It's not my problem, I've got a job to do." And they wonder why people don't like traffic wardens. And a retired blacksmith, Robert McFarland, was flabbergasted to find a parking ticket slapped to his horse. The tour guide in the Yorkshire Dales spotted that under the headline "Vehicle Description," the warden had written "Brown Horse." I thought you'd have to have a number plate to get a parking ticket. Apparently not. You just have... all you need is a horse. And an ass to write it out.
on 90...
Right, not a moment too soon.
When do we start?
Tonight.
Good. I'd like to get in, get on with it, get it over with, and get out. Get it?
Got it.
Good.
And remember, the potion with the poison is in the chalice with the palace. No, wait. The pellet with the poisons in the flagon with the dragon. The brew that is true is in the chalice from the palace. But wait, they've changed it. They broke the chalice from the palace. They broke the chalice from the palace? Do you remember that? You have any idea what I'm talking about?
No,
It was
I've
just played a Danny Kaye bit, and I think the most famous Danny Kaye bit of all time is the chalice from the palace, as the brew that is true. But then they broke the chalice from the palace, and then they put it in the flagon with the dragon, and for some other cup, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, go and rent that film. It's called The Court Jester. Immediately, if not sooner. Hilarious. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's the sort of answer I appreciate. Thank you. A little more of that,
polite.
please. Yeah, be polite. This is LBC. I'm Nick Abbott, and remember that Jeremy Clarkson is coming in to talk to Big Nick Ferrari on his breakfast show on Friday. Jeremy Clarkson cannot get enough of me. Oh, he loves this show.
He's always mentioning it when I see him.
Absolutely, yeah. Wallington. Hello, Joan.
Hello, Nick.
Joan.
Well, talking of presidents and queens,
Yes.
you missed the point about President Bush.
Yeah.
He's meant to be that charming, that soft, that silly, that unbelievably couldn't be a bad man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they pick him for. And then everybody says, well, a man like that, he's like a little lamb. He's like a little stupid lamb who doesn't know where he's going. How could he possibly kill hundreds of thousands of people? It must be a very, very, very good reason if America does it. And so that's what he's there for.
Right.
So we're all convinced, you see, when we look at him, say, oh, he's got to be a good man. And he talks about God. He's not. He's just a pawn, really.
So when you pull back the curtain, it's some other evil type is...
yeah, working the string.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it really is that. Because a man like that maybe wouldn't order troops to do what they do. But he can convince himself that he's doing all right and he's doing the right thing, and everybody tells him he's doing the right thing. Because he's not putting foot wrong, really, is he? He just says what he's told, does what he's told. I don't think our Queen is quite as bad as that.
Well, it's nice of you to say so, Joan.
Well, do you know, I did see her in Croydon.
In Croydon?
Yeah.
The Queen has never been to Croydon.
No, and Prince Charles.
Nonsense.
Yeah, he went up the market.
No, he didn't.
He did so. And he had lunch in the market.
Oh, come on, Joan. Now you're just fantasising.
I know. And he was, he's much smaller and more slight than you imagine, because in all the newspapers, all the pictures of him...
Prince Charles?
Yeah.
I thought he was just 6 foot something.
He has that slightness, as though really... And his handshake is terrific, but he looks really vulnerable. But he's good with his, the way he looks around. He can look around without you knowing he's looking around.
How do you mean?
Well, he sizes up situations absolutely perfectly where he's at. And, because the crowd was all round.
And you come from...
He might have been sussing out if anyone was going to be nasty, but it was a good experience. But the Queen, that was a different day, and she was up at just above the market on the...
Why were they in Croydon?
Well, he was there, I suppose, to give the market a boost.
When was this?
Would it be 10 years ago?
Oh, right, okay.
It might have been.
And you were there?
And I was there, and I
waving your little flag?
Well, no, but I was quite supportive of him.
Right.
And also with the Queen. Now, she absolutely showed vulnerability. She was coming towards the crowd, and, people were calling out things to her.
What do you mean? calling out
Oh
things.
no, she
Nasty
good
things.
things.
Surely.
Good things.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Well,
She came really close,
Yeah.
and I looked straight into her face, and she looked very vulnerable. It's a time when everybody was running the monarchy down. You know, just everybody. Everything they did, it was wrong, it was wrong, it was wrong.
Well, you know what? That's just like being on stage, but worse, because as she's walking towards a crowd, she's got absolutely no idea who's in that crowd. It could be some nutcase with a gun or a bomb, or it just could be somebody who wants to throw an egg at her, or just scream in her face. Or And every time she presents herself to a crowd of people, every time she steps outside her front door, it's like that. It's like being Madonna, but much, much worse.
Yeah. And as I say, you could see exactly how she felt, just in that look in her eyes.
Oh.
But Philip, he doesn't give away a thing. He was there, you know, he doesn't give away a
Probably
thing.
drunk, wasn't he?
And I looked at him and I thought, I think I wouldn't ask him any questions.
No, he might answer.
But yes, so I mean, I have written to her a couple of times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, I know where you live, that sort of thing.
That kind of thing. But she didn't agree with me on the second issue.
Well, she wrote back?
Yeah.
In person?
Well, it felt personal, yes.
Right.
It was her opinion, I presume.
But it wasn't signed by her, it's surely...
Oh, well, I can't remember, but I got the letter.
Oh, you've got it, or forgotten it?
No, got it.
You got it, yeah. It's not the kind of letter you'd want to throw away.
No.
No, you wouldn't shred that.
Definitely not.
No, right.
Don't shred anything anyway.
Don't you? I do. I shred everything now. Everything.
Oh.
Anything with my name and address on it. Everything. I've become paranoid.
Well, yes. I just think there might be other ways of getting rid of stuff. For a start, I've got a fireplace.
Oh, well, this time of year, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, it is nice.
You could start with all your tax returns.
You can do a lot with the fireplace.
Well, that
And you can warm
that
yourself,
implies
and
you
you can
killed
make
people
toast.
and chopped them up into small bits and you've burnt the evidence.
But, it's nice if you have a fire, isn't it? And you have a little bit of toasting going on.
Get rid of
the
the
trouble
evidence.
is I've just got myself a new but cheap carpet. And it's not as dark as the other one. And I'm thinking, oh dear, if I start the open fire, it might get all dusty.
Well, if it's a cheap carpet, Johnny, just rip it down and put another one on. No problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go into a shop and use my name and they'll give you the carpet at the regular price.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah, with my compliments.
Yeah, very good. Very
Right.
helpful, that.
Thanks, Joan.
Bye-bye then.
Cheers, ta-ra. Hey, we just had the carpets cleaned in here. And they're still wet to the touch, and full of chemicals, I bet. I love the smell of carpet chemicals in the evening. It smells like, I don't really know what they use. What do they use? Formaldehyde?
Probably.
Arsenic? Something like that.
Yeah.
Is it me, or do they not smell? Maybe it's just water.
No, they do.
Maybe they just came in here with a hose.
It's making my head hurt.
Oh, poor baby. Really? Please, tell me more.
Stop whining.
Here is Marylebone. Hello, John.
Good evening to you. Now, I detected just a hint of the fact that you might not be a monarchist in what you were talking about regarding the Royal Family programme last night.
Oh, come off it. I've done nothing but say positive things about the Queen.
No, you said lots of negative things. It didn't stop you talking what I thought was an enormous amount of piffle.
Yes.
I'll tell you one. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I mean, you talked about the fact that you think that the Buckingham Palace is now open to the public, but you've never been invited. Has it ever occurred to you to pay to go in, as other people do?
Well, you weren't listening very hard because I said that I'd paid to go in.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear that then.
Yeah.
I obviously wasn't listening.
All right, we'll strike that piffle off.
I'll take that one back.
Give me that one, will you?
I'll give you that one back, yes. Now, you talked about the fact that the Queen seemed to be gliding along the surface, but there was no indication of any of the people, swimming like ducks underneath the surface.
Yes.
Look, I only watched the programme for about 45 minutes, but every bit of it seemed to have courtiers, what you probably don't approve of, courtiers all talking about how they were all organising events, how this was going to happen, how that was all going to happen, i.e. the people who are metaphorically swimming like mad to allow her to glide along the surface.
Yeah, did I not say that in ordinary life it seems like she's just gliding along without any apparent assistance, but it was interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes.
You criticised the fact that Windsor Castle had a couple of rooms burnt, so they've been rebuilt and you need something.
No, I didn't criticise it. I said it looked great.
I thought you said you would need sunglasses to go in. Certainly the implication was that it was dark.
No, the implication with the sunglasses thing was that it was they were bright colours, not the faded colours that you normally see in stately homes where you go around them.
You made it come over because it's just been redone. It's very difficult to make somewhere look 400, 600, 800 years old when you've just redone it after a
Right, and I wasn't being negative about that. I said that they look great. They do. They're fantastic.
You deny that the Queen's probably ever been to Croydon, and you just said that Prince Philip...
Right, well, that was done in jest.
You said Prince Philip was probably drunk. Why on earth...
Well, that was done in jest as well. I tell you what, John, I think you'd be better off listening to another show, because this is obviously not up your alley. Good God. On a scale of 1 to 10, annoying, or am I hallucinating? Just the sound of his voice.
Was he real?
He got the wrong end of every single thing I said. Have I not? Did I not spend the first hour lauding the Queen up and down? Did I or did I not?
Lauded.
Yeah, and did I not specifically say that you are on a hiding to nothing if you say any negative thing about her at all? And so I didn't. I threw no end of praise at her.
I know.
And he just took every single... Well, this always happens when you're on the radio. People half hear what you say and then call up in righteous indignation about something that they misheard. But to mishear everything I've said so far, maybe he has waxy build-up. I'm going to send her some Q-tips in the post. It's 8:15. Here's travel news with Karen Mercer.
The A2 in Bermondsey still closed as you head out of town.
Everything is going extremely well.
Well in Garden City. Hello, Amy.
Yeah, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Do you know what? You used my endorsement to basically make your I don't know, but I heard you use me to make you sound better. So what do you...
Can I ask you a question, Amy?
Go on.
What you talking about?
Okay. Well, basically, I'm quite fat. Okay, the last time I looked in the mirror, I was very fat. And it makes me cry. Every day I cry.
But what were you talking about? I use you as an endorsement.
Well, do you know what? All I saw was that you turned round and you...
Do you want to get that? Have you got that? Okay. What was she talking about? I mean, you heard her before she came to me.
Yes,
what was her thing?
She was the woman who was talking about eating cream cakes.
Cakes. And you told her to put them down.
I told her to put the cakes down.
Mm-hmm. And then not you, Nick, made a trail out of that.
Oh, did you?
Because I thought it was powerful radio. I'm wrong.
Well, it's a good job you're leaving then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Right. Hey, well, we had to take you off the air, Amy, because you said a word that is not allowed on the air. But on behalf of Helen, we're very...
I'm not sorry.
Oh, right, we're not sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. But
just checking. Well, hopefully she's happy with that.
Well,
well, she made a strong case, lucidly.
Yeah, I don't know. She seemed a bit more friendly. She said she was going to embrace you.
Yeah, to death.
Squash you.
Yeah. Is there any more cream cake, by the way? Ooh,
well, I was thinking about
yummy.
Amy just then, and we've got Amy. We've got loads of cream cake here. Na.
I found a donut.
Hey, you know how much women spend on average on dieting in their lives? That's right. £150,000. Don't you find that staggering?
What, each?
Yeah, 150 grand women spend on average each in their lifetime on dieting. £150,000.
Does that include gym memberships?
Well, actually it does. Good point. But, I mean, how much is a gym membership? It's like £50 a month tops, right? This massive sum, it say in the paper that I've been carrying around for a while, they splash out in a lifetime, could still buy a home in many areas. It includes special food, slimming supplements, gym membership, trainers and exercise equipment. Okay, people who buy exercise equipment to use in the squalor of their own lounge, you're never going to use it, you're wasting your money. It will just collect dust. Am I right? Has anybody actually ever bought a piece of exercise equipment for their house and used it? No, not once. Which is why the gym membership is good, because you know it's going to come out of your bank account. In fact, it would be good if they came around and actually took cash from you, thereby making it more apparent that you're spending money on it. Because if it just comes out by direct debit, then you sort of forget about it, like they do the gas and the lecky and everything else that you get, everything else that gets sucked out your bank. But at least you're paying for it, and you're obliged, you're sort of mentally obliged to go, right?
Mm.
An average woman buys 10 books on dieting and at least 7 fitness DVDs. There's another thing you're never going to use. A DVD, what, somebody in a leotard leaping about. You're never going to use it.
Unless it's Wincy Willis.
Who's that?
Wincy Willis.
Who's that?
She, I think she was before GMTV. I don't know what was before GMTV.
I thought that was the Green Goddess.
There was her as well.
Right.
And there was Wincy Willis.
The Green Goddess, what she used to wear was just flat out awful. That was before they made nylon, wasn't it? Or spandex or something.
Mm.
She was dressed up in what looked like flattened out garden hose.
I think it was leftover Pan's People outfit.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was TVAM.
Something like that.
She was dressed retro even then. When she was
yes. Yeah, she looked like she just popped out the 40s. In a pair of kitchen curtains. But the most popular method of losing weight?
Don't stuff your face with cream cakes.
Starvation. Almost 70% of those polled confessed to regularly starving themselves, but dietitians warn that the practice affects the metabolism, making it harder to shed the pounds. Absolutely. Dieting does not work. It doesn't work. Britain faces an obesity crisis. Half of all women over 18 are obese or overweight. And I think that the answer to me is clear. I mean, Alex, how much have you spent on dieting products? I'll answer before you do. 0, right?
Well, can you ask me that? Ask me that question.
Here you go, Helen. The same question to you. 0, right?
Well, ask it. Go on.
Helen.
Yes,
Yes, Nick. How much have you spent on dieting products in your life?
0.
0. That's right. And you know why? What's the thing that connects the three of us? Is that we don't obsess about food all the time. We don't think about it. You eat until you're full, and then you stop. And you don't think about it all the time. This is what dieting does to you. It makes you think about food all the time. Think about foods that you can't eat, that you're denying yourself, about half-fat versions of something that you would have ordinarily eaten. And it just puts the food to the forefront of your mind all the time. It's pretty much the only thing you're thinking about. What's the calorific content of a peanut, for instance? Which is not a nut, it's a legume. That's a third rock from the sun thing. It makes me laugh every time. But that's the answer. Stop obsessing about food. And starvation, don't even think about it, because you send your body into panic mode. It says, "Warning, warning! I've not got any food coming in, so I'm going to keep a hold of everything that actually is eaten," which immediately turns it into fat, because that's how the body stores food. So if you deny your body food, subsequently you are going to eat something, and anything that you subsequently eat, having starved yourself, will immediately be turned into fat, thereby ruining the entire purpose of the process. And then you just go around and around and around, and it gets turned into fat, and you think, "Oh my God, I'm fat, and I'm going to have to starve myself again." And eventually you'll die an early, hungry death. If we could just stop thinking about food and obsessing about it, and, "Oh, I want a hot mocha double fat cream this, and I'll balance that by having diet crisps and, you know, a low fat cake, and then I can have an apple and maybe squeeze a Mars bar in there and this, that and the other." Just stop thinking about it all the time.
So you're saying I shouldn't deny myself this donut?
Yeah, you should. Yes, no,
it.
Do deny yourself that donut. I had one the other day, and I'm still experiencing it now. Much worse on the way out than it was on the way down. Don't eat the donut.
Step away from the donut?
Yes, put the donut down and step away from the fridge. Let's have Crawley. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Nick.
Richard.
It's quite... I think I'll do a public goodbye to Helen behind the glass, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Bye-bye, Helen.
It was nice that you used her full name yesterday.
What, Helen behind the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was going to say was, it's often, if you pick up the newspapers or even listen to phone-ins a lot of the time, there seems to be an assumption that parking regulations and parking enforcement is necessarily a bad thing. I would take the opposite view and say, good on them. The more enforcement, the better.
Do you drive?
I drive, yeah.
Oh.
That's the thing. It is for the benefit of motorists.
Well, I would question that. I mean, superficially, yes, and to a certain extent, yes, but they have taken the opportunity and they've extended it to areas where it's not about keeping traffic moving anymore, because if it was actually about keeping traffic moving, then the whole concept of clamping cars wouldn't exist, because that, by definition, keeps cars in the way. So it's not really what they say it is, and just like everything else that they are throwing at us, it's just another way of raising money.
But clamping is a deterrent. I mean...
Yes, but if the purpose of the exercise is to free up road space and keep traffic moving, then their entire argument is shot down by clamping, by the very existence of it.
But if you didn't have clamping, then there's, you'd have more illegal parking, though.
Well, no, I don't think that's true at all. People don't park illegally and think, I better not do that unless in case I get clamped. They think, I better not do that in case I get a ticket.
But it's not exactly rocket science to avoid parking tickets and getting... See, clamping is very easy to avoid, as is getting parking tickets. Everywhere you look, there's normally a plate telling you what the restrictions are. There's normally yellow lines, red lines. Can't miss them. Where's the excuse?
Well, yes and no, but then you get things like this. This is an entire list of parking tickets that were given in bad faith. And if the Daily Mail can fill a page with it, then you'd be able to fill a book the size of the encyclopedia on just one year in London. Yeah, you're just being contrary-wise. Have you got a cough?
Yeah, it's going away now.
Right.
But I don't know how I managed to avoid. I've always seemed to have managed to avoid parking fines and speeding fines. I don't know how I do it. I must be very lucky.
Well, so far...
I think there's something wrong with my car, don't I?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I'm touching wood as I speak. I've never been done for speeding. Quite right, too. I never speed. It would be wrong. But I've had a couple of parking tickets, just by accident, really. And the most annoying one was when I forgot to put the car clock back when the clocks changed, and I didn't know what time it was. And I parked in a place where I thought that I was fine by the time on the clock in the car, but it was an hour out. And I came back much to my... and that was a very expensive mistake on my part. But I wasn't, obstructing traffic or anything like that. It was just some silly little rule. And it seems that the silly little rules like that have the express intention of just raising money. That's what it's all about,
I haven't paid a penny in fines.
Right, well, good for you, mate.
No,
you'll change your tune when you do. All right, thanks a lot, Richard. Keep on the right side of the law. Good man. It's 8:30.
Care what this guy thinks.
No!
Richmond. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm glad you put me off till after that ad, actually, because it reminded me about something that I wanted to ask you. So I can ask you after this.
Go on then.
Anyway, you were saying that you're not meant to ask the Queen for her autograph.
Yes, that was one of the rules, as explained to...
What do you think it's worth, then?
The Queen's autograph?
Yeah.
I've absolutely no idea.
What about Queenie and Philip?
Yeah, I really don't know what things like that go for.
Oh, because I've got them both.
Have you?
Yeah, for real.
How did you manage that?
They're on my dad's certificate for his medals, for his MBE.
Ah.
They both actually signed it, the same piece of paper.
Huh. Well, MBEs are frequently sold, are they not? Or, no, it's wartime medals that really...
Yeah, well, this was a wartime medal.
Okay.
He got it for, war things.
Oh, war things. Oh, well, you should have said.
Easter Island, that's why he died of cancer.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, fair use policy.
Do what?
The advert that you just had on was talking about unlimited use of whatever. I won't.
Right, well, we can't really talk about the ads.
All right, not the ad then. Right, I have broadband, 24-hour-a-day broadband.
Yeah.
Right, unlimited usage.
Yes.
Subject to a fair usage policy. And I'm
Right.
like, well, what does that mean? Well, so that you don't use it too much. And I'm like, but I'm paying you extra, so I have unlimited use.
Well, I think that the fair use policy means that they don't want you to, they don't want to...
Use it too much.
Well, no, they don't want to sign you personally up and then find out that they've signed up IBM.
Oh, I see. Well, you see, they didn't have the sense to explain that. They just said, so it's so you don't use it too much. But they didn't...
within reason, I think.
Yeah, no, but they couldn't actually give me a reason. They just said, well, it's so that you don't use it too much.
Well, I think that I think the main reason that they put that in is that businesses are charged a higher rate because they
So
obviously...
I don't like set up an internet cafe in my front room or something.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So any reasonable person would fall within the limits, but if you're actually running a corporation, then you're going to have to pay business rates, which is fair enough.
That means you have to put down the cakes and back away from the fridge.
Exactly. Unless you taste cakes for a living. In which case, go ahead and tuck in.
Have you seen the Krispy Kreme donut calendar for 2008?
No.
Try to find it on the internet, seriously.
All right. I'll take a peek.
See what it's like.
All right. Cheers, Alan.
Cheers.
Everybody was banging on about Krispy Kreme donuts, and I don't want to talk about them specifically, but, okay, everyone was talking about a famous American donut company that came to this country, and I thought, ooh, wow, must go and try some of that. And I did, and I'm like, is this it? Is this all there is? I feel like I'm breaking into song now. Everybody.
Which song?
Is this all there is? Is that all there is? Well, how does it go?
I don't know that one.
You know, the Torch song. Is that all there is? That wasn't anywhere close, was it? I feel such a fool. Chelmsford. Hello, Flash.
Hiya.
Flash.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, about the illegal parking before I get on to George Bush.
Yeah.
One of the solutions, I think, is all trucks and buses should be fitted with Bodicea attachments, and the insurance on illegally parked cars should not cover them for any damage done when they're parked in the way of lorries and buses, and we can just bulldoze them out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I would deal with the problem. I mean, but anyway, George Bush, I think, is probably Zaphod Beetle-Rocks. and Tony Blair was Ford prefect, and Brown is Arthur Dent. And I think the Two Jags man was a Vogon because he was big enough to be a Vogon, except he wasn't green.
I could do with a couple of pints of Pangalactic Gargle Blaster myself right now.
Yeah, so I mean, if that woman's right, somebody's pulling the strings, then it's definitely a Zaphod Beetle-Rocks situation, isn't it, when he became president of the universe?
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you've strolled us down memory lane to a nicer, happy, brighter, more innocent time.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Flash.
No problem. I thought I'd share that with you.
All right, cheers, mate.
Just came to me and made me laugh.
Thanks a lot.
George Bush.
Ta-ta.
Ta-da. Thanks.
I think one of my favourite moments in... Did you ever listen to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Alex? I think it's...
Well, I've read it.
Oh, you've read it?
And
Okay,
watched the TV series, but I never heard the radio series.
Okay, well, then you've missed how it actually should be consumed, because it was a radio programme first, of course, and then a book, which is a very odd way round to have done it.
Yeah.
But the radio programme is absolutely one of the best things that British radio has ever produced. You could put it in the very small list of great things that British radio has ever produced. But my favourite moment from that came, I can't remember exactly what the circumstance was, but Marvin, the paranoid android, was accompanying our heroes on a visit to a new and exciting planet, which was, quite groovy. And as they were moving onto the planet, you could hear the opening of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Pink Floyd, as background music. Mm-hmm. You know what that is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, from the album Wish You Were Here.
Yes.
And Ford Prefect turns around to the robot and says, "Will you stop that Pink Floyd noise?" I suppose you'd had to have been there, really, because Oh, and now I'm going to explain it and completely ruin even more than it was already, because you expected it just to be, you know, hippie background music and not actually produced by the robot itself. They're in the humour. Oh no, I ruined it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, do that. Thurrock, hello, Greg.
Hello, Nick.
Greg.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. You just mentioned the Torch song there.
Yes.
Peggy Lee, wasn't it?
I really don't know. I'm sure it's one of those things that was covered by everyone.
Oh, great song.
Is that all there is? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking about the Queen and the so-called documentary.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but
I think so-called documentary is about right. Yeah, it wasn't much of a documentary, really. Was
well, this is what I was going to say, because you know they're not the Spice Girls. I mean, they don't need the publicity.
Well, she must think that she does, because otherwise, why have a camera? Why have the inconvenience of a camera crew trailing you around all the time?
Well, because she was asked, and they drew the line and said, "Well, okay, you can see front of house, but there's no way that they're going to show her with her rollers in and getting up this morning." And, you know, these so-called celebs just gagging for anything that they could possibly have to put on the screen, and the morons will just sit there and lap it up. But
well, the reason that celebs do that is in order to get more money. Basically,
Exactly.
it's down to that. The Queen doesn't need more money.
Doesn't need it.
No.
You know, she doesn't need that.
But she does need popular public opinion, because when her reign comes to an end, I think the great fear in that firm is that it's all going to fall apart. She's the only glue that's holding it all together.
Well, yeah, you say that, and that seems to be what the media are saying, and they're slagging off all the miners and even Charles. But
yeah,
it brought to mind something that happened. It was quite a few years ago. I don't know if you remember when Prince Charles was, I think he was in New Zealand, and he was giving a speech. It was a fairly minor event, and he was giving a speech with a crowd of people round him. Yeah, and he was stood on a plinth and giving the usual chat, and a guy came running out from the crowd with a knife. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
And he got pretty close to him. He got within thrusting distance, if you get what I mean. And a couple of his aides managed to grab hold of the guy and bundle him away.
Yeah, and and didn't Charlie just stand there adjusting his cufflinks?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, this wasn't a PR stunt or anything like that.
No.
They didn't work this one out before.
No.
And there are very few occasions when the TV actually picks up the absolute truth. And I sat there and I thought to myself, not only didn't he didn't flinch, he didn't sort of rear back in horror
or dive to the ground. Yeah.
And the next thing he did, immediately they got the guy away, the next thing he did, rather than go back to the speech or look around in helplessness or wide-eyed terror, he turned around to one of his aides and he said, "Is he okay?"
Yeah. Well, he does stoicism for a living, doesn't he? A similar thing happened with the Queen when she was, I think it was in the Mall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a gunshot or some nutter with a firearm. And her horse reared up, but she maintained complete composure.
Absolutely. And he went up in my estimation ring. I thought to myself, now that shows spirit. You know, you imagine George W. or anyone, you know.
Well, if it had been a president, then he would have been underneath a giant pile of security guards,
Well,
wouldn't
yeah,
he?
exactly. So, you know, they came across as being okay, but I don't think that they're going to court the publicity, the type of publicity that people seem to think that they're entitled to see. It's just not going to happen.
But it must be why she allowed the BBC to trail her around for a year in order to get publicity, because why else would you do it?
Well, I think they showed us what you would have seen had you been there anyway. You know, if you'd have taken the time to travel up to London and to attend an event or anything like that, it's just so that people who didn't have the opportunity could see it.
Yeah, that's almost exactly right. Yeah, there were there wasn't much behind the scenes at all. No more. Well, I thought that's what the purpose of it all was, to pull back the curtain.
They're never going to do that.
Yeah,
they'll never do that. That's not the way it works.
But I was a little disappointed that there would be no pulling back of the curtain. Then it was
because you're used to seeing it from Jordan and Posh and Bex and all the rest of it, and do the most brainless sort of insights into the trivia of their, you don't need it.
Getting out of a car with no knickers. That's never going to happen with a member of the royal family.
Or if it did, we're not going to see it on
exactly.
TV.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Ta-ra. You're drawing to the end, and soon the end is here. And so we face the final curtain. Helen.
Nick.
You've been or maybe I should say this for later, because I don't want to start crying now. Here is Stop Laughing. Charlotte Street. Hello, Ian.
Good evening, Nick. Good evening, Helen. I've just got a quick story about the parking attendants.
Yeah, go on.
I was picking up some stuff the other day in Islington, and I was exercising my right under the Road Traffic Act of 1991 to wait and load on a single yellow line for 20 minutes.
Yes.
I was just putting these parcels in the back of the van, and up came a parking attendant, and he started looking at my registration, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to give you a ticket." I said, "What for?" He said, "There is no loading or unloading in Islington."
What?
And I looked at him and I said, "You what?" He said, "Yep, there's no loading or unloading in Islington." I said, "What, you mean in the whole borough?" I said, "How do people go about their business?" And I then decided to pull out my copy of the Road Traffic Act of 1991.
Which you just happen to have on your person.
Oh, yes, I keep it all the time because I've been doing this job for quite a long time, and we do get a lot of hassle off parking attendants. Some of them are really good. I must say, some of them actually will tell you the truth about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. But some of them, well, let's just say they twist and turn and will issue a ticket as soon as they possibly can.
Right. Well, unfortunately for all of us, they're on targets. It's the same with all targets. It never achieves the stated aim. Any target will always come around and bite you on the bottom. It's true.
Oh, you're not far wrong there. I certainly feel like a target a lot of the time as I'm going about my daily business, and I do respect what the Road Traffic Act says, and I try to stick within the letter of the law.
Right. Well, I'll have to read that sometime. I'll put it on my list along with the Highway Code.
Oh, I would do. Section 57, I know, which refers to people in vans turning left and cyclists.
I'll save that for my nighttime reading.
Yeah, good for you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ian.
Well, that's no problem. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Ta-ra. It's 8:46. Travel news with Karen Mercer.
The A2 in Bermondsey still remains...
So what are we doing?
Carol, we're doing parking. I don't want to dwell on parking very much. I'd much rather talk about the Queen or, anything else. Because, let's face it, parking is...
boring!
But there's a few of these that the Daily Mail printed on Tuesday of this week. Parking tickets that shouldn't have been issued. A motorist was surprised to find that she received a parking fine from national car parks despite returning to her vehicle an hour early. Andrew Knight complained after the incident happened to his wife in High Wycombe. He said that she'd bought a 4-hour ticket, and the parking firm came up with the excuse that it had reasonable cause to think she would be staying longer than the 4 hours for which she'd paid. Can you get your head around that? So she paid for 4 hours, came back after 3, and there was a ticket on her window at that point, because they said, "We think you might overstay your welcome. So here's a ticket." That's staggering. He said, "They do not, I believe, have special powers to see into the future. They're just trying to book as many people as possible. The council, however, denied that this happened." Well, they would, wouldn't they? Then there was Krista Nylander, who was dismayed to receive a ticket in the post for parking in the town of Warwick. But he knew something was wrong because he lives in Sweden and had not visited England since he was 16. The offending vehicle was a 20-ton snowmobile, which has never left his barn. They're just throwing this stuff out like it's fishing, actually, is what it is. They're fishing. And I'm sure, like those criminals on the net who tell you to please re-enter your bank details, I must get 20 of those every day. Almost always for banks that I've never done business with. But, every now and again there'll be one from the bank that I do, and I'm like, and you feel like you should because somebody's telling you to do it. But then they'll sign off by saying, we is upset having bothered you. Or something. You know, they're just writing unbankily terms. Don't ever get sucked in by one of those phishing emails for when your bank or credit card asks you to re-enter your details. Don't do it. And people must do it all the time, otherwise they wouldn't bother doing it, right? They wouldn't bother sending out these millions of emails which must spray all over the world, because that's pretty much all I get. That and an invitation to buy Cialis soft tabs, whatever they are. Delivery driver Dennis Williams threw his parking ticket onto the pavement in disgust. Unfortunately, his outburst was spotted by a nearby warden, who fined him on the spot for being a litterbug. This part is actually really clever. How to not get a ticket. A builder who got fed up with receiving parking tickets outside the property he was renovating came up with a novel idea. He paid the local council for a skip licence and hired a skip with a drop-down front, and parked it outside of his property. Every day when he arrived for work, he let down the front, drove his van into the skip, and pulled it up. He never got a ticket. Brilliant. So now you know. You don't need a garage, just get a skip. Let's have Guildford. Vito.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and you?
Super duper, thanks for asking.
I just want to tell you a funny story about this parking attendants and parking tickets. I am a coach driver, and I used to drive aircraft crews from the Heathrow to the hotels and back.
Yeah.
One day I was in an hotel by Bayswater picking up an LO crew, Israeli crew, which, by the way, is surrounded by some security, but this doesn't matter. And I actually stopped my mini coach, was a mini one, in front of the hotel on the second lane. A parking attendant was there looking at me. And I told him, listen, I'm just picking up an LO crew, and he didn't even reply to me. As I left the coach and went to the back to open the boots to help the crew with their luggage, the guy in this, 1 minute, took a picture of the front of my coach without, not myself seated on the driver's seat, obviously, put a ticket on my windscreen and fined me because I left an unattended vehicle on the second line. I think this was absolutely amazing, because he did it in, 30 seconds or so.
Right.
After, I just went to the back of the coach. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
So what, in the picture, whoever saw that picture, it actually looked like a mini coach on a second line with no one seated on it.
Yes.
I think it was hilarious.
Huh.
I just want to tell you this
Did you
story.
pay?
No, I didn't. Actually, my company made a complaint about it. And as I told you before, as it was, some security involved as well, they actually forgive me for that.
Right.
But the speed of that guy was amazing, After he was just waiting to see my coach with nobody seated on it. I think it was hilarious. So they actually do the most, and with my profession, it happens terrible things in London almost every day.
Yeah, I bet.
Very much. Just want to share this one with you.
All right, thanks a lot, Vito.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, I should always make notes when I think of. Oh, you wouldn't believe how hilarious it was going to be. It was going to be the highlight of the show. I can't remember what it is now.
It will come back to
No, I'm completely lost. Oh, dear. What a disappointment. Have we got an ad break now? No break. Dartford. Betty.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Betty.
Oh, well, I really rang up to say bye-bye to Helen, because we've been friends for such a long while.
Oh.
And I asked you if you'd heard her play, and you said, when was it? So I looked the script up. It was Wednesday, June the 13th, 9:30 to 10. And Chris sent me a CD of it, and my son and grandson played it. It was really good.
And what is it a play about?
Well, it was about aliens and rockets, and Chris and Helen did it. And they might have a copy still up there.
Huh. We should stick it on our excellent podcast service, lbc.co.uk.
It was in the playback one Saturday morning as well.
Really? I think it's lbc.co.uk/LBC Plus.
Docky/Docky. Helen was behind the glass.
Yeah.
I was mission control. There was Agent Chris, Vinny. Oh, it was very, very good.
Right. You actually had a speaking part.
I did. Oh, on page 2, I had 5 things to say.
What was your lines?
Oh, lots of things.
Right.
I had to do the, countdown. From
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And, by the way, the only way to lose weight is to eat less.
Yeah, but I think more.
Because I can't chew or swallow, so I have to have everything liquidized.
Yeah. But I think the key is stop obsessing about food. Stop thinking about it. Stop dreaming and wishing and stop concentrating on it all the time.
All these people, the diets and everything.
Yeah. It's a waste of money. You're killing yourselves.
Yeah.
Just eat what your body tells you to eat until you're full and then stop.
Yeah. Oh, and Helen's going tonight. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh. I wonder who you'll have.
Yeah. I'm wondering that myself.
Oh. Lucy? Victoria?
Luby Lou does daytime, and she's just clinging to it like a limpet. I think she likes her evenings.
And Victoria has Anthony Davis.
Yeah, it might be Victoria.
Yeah, she's nice, I know her.
Right. So, do you remember this play then, Helen?
Yeah, of course she does. She wrote it.
Of course I do. I wrote it.
Yeah. What a stupid question. I feel like such a fool. Of course you do.
A lot of the presenters have heard it.
Really? What was it called?
Ellen will tell you.
Would you like to know?
Yes, what was it called, Helen?
It's called Space Shindiggery.
Right.
It's available on podcast, I believe.
Oh, really? Well, that's all right. Don't worry. It was an hour long.
9:30 to 10.
9:30 to 10, Nick.
Half an hour.
Half an hour. Just under, actually.
Less breaks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's a career in there for you.
Could well be.
Right. Are you proud of that work?
Fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And you enjoyed it, Betty?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, that's a deeply pleasant and happy experience all round.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Betty.
Yes.
What a nice lady.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Ta-ra. So is that something that you would wish to pursue? Writing?
It's on my CV, yeah.
Right, writing, it's just, isn't it writing? I can't stand it. I mean, I do a tiny little bit myself, but just generally it's...
Well, we write all the time, don't we?
My hand hurts when I write. I don't like it.
I wrote a cheque out today.
Did you?
That's writing.
Did you get the date right?
It really hurts.
Did you have to check to see what year it is? I know I do. Hey, Helen.
Nick.
Oh, we're not going to have time for this. Please don't go. I have to do it myself.
On 97.3 DAB.
Never thief on this hostile planet.
So, aren't you upset to be going?
I am.
Are you? No, you're not.
I know, I was laughing at your... What were you doing then?
I was doing an Indian rain dance.
Okay.
I couldn't help myself.
I know.
Well, every time it rains, it leaks in my flat, so I have to cheer myself up somehow.
You got the dog, you got the leak.
Oh, blimey. That dog, I swear.
You got wasps in the summer, haven't you?
Yeah, and,
Your health.
Oh, don't talk to me about health. Isn't that great music?
It's fantastic.
What is it?
I'm not telling you.
Oh.
Totters. Hello, Bert.
Hello, good evening.
Where's Totters?
Yeah, Totters, short for obviously
Tottenham.
yeah,
Right,
of course,
okay.
Yeah. Pleasure to speak to you this evening.
Yeah, and you.
The reason that I called is I've been overwhelmed with our coinage, the penny. I've got hundreds of pennies.
Yeah, me too.
So you do appreciate, and all the caller listeners also will have this problem, wouldn't they, Nick?
Well, I try and pay my, I try and give the newsagent a fistful of change every now and
I bet he loves
just
you.
to try and get rid of it.
I know you do, I bet he loves you. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. What a useless coinage, Nick.
Well, it is now, because nothing costs a penny.
No, I know, but all the companies tend to do 99.99.
Well, that's true.
99.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, Nick, paying £99 and giving them 99 pence? Literally.
Right, as opposed to waiting for a penny back. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they love that too much, would they? If you know what I mean.
Well, it's carrying the change around, having a pocket full of shrapnel. I hate that.
I know, it's terrible. I mean, I've got a great big mound of pennies, you know, and
got a bit of a cough.
Then there must be. Yeah, thank you. Yes,
Always wash your hands after you touch coinage, by the way.
Ooh, yeah.
Because their disease and ickiness lie.
Yeah,
So it's one of the dirtiest things that we touch on a regular basis, and they've just found another MRS bug. This is MRS2. It's one louder, even more vicious and nasty than the one that's infecting our hospitals.
My wife had that, Nick,
Right.
and she was isolated. She's passed now, lover, but...
Yeah, but this is even worse, and it's got beyond hospitals. It'll be, it'll be on a tube carriage near you soon, if not already.
You think there's an answer to it, Nick? Is
Gloves.
Can we
Gloves.
go abroad or whatever?
Gloves. Always wear gloves, and wash your hands.
Oh, yes, well, I'm 76, so I think I've learnt a few lessons,
Right.
Nick.
Apparently you have to sing Happy Birthday to yourself twice while you're washing your hands, and only at the end of the second Happy Birthday are your hands sufficiently clean to, stick in your own mouth.
I think a lesson has to be learned in hospital, really.
Yeah.
Because, the hospitals I've been in are quite dirty, particularly from the outside, and
yeah, well, everything about them, because they've got people in them. People.
There's people there outside as well, you know, that enter into the...
they're in, they're out, they shake it all about. But no, you're right about the pennies. They're completely useless, apart from the... it's when companies that are selling us things prey on our innate greed. And so they don't sell us something at £10, they'll sell us at $9.99, because to us it seems much less.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, Nick, but imagine paying that 99p. If one was actually vindictive and took it literally, you'd give them 99 bloody pennies. Choose a bit. Give them 99p in pennies.
Right.
Don't think I'd like that too much.
Well, I wouldn't like. I wouldn't like carrying it around. But go on.
May I say another thing?
Go on, then.
I find slightly irritating. Why put a cross on the 7? You know, a problem 7, but English people do it. I find it irritating when an English person puts, and I know they're English, and they put a cross.
Right.
I mean, isn't the English 7 clear enough? Particularly when printed, Nick.
Well, some people write the 1 with a tail at the top and then sitting on a base, don't they? Which can look like a 7 if you do it quickly. That's why they put a cross on it. Not something to get upset about, though, I wouldn't think, Bert. There's plenty more in life to get upset about than a cross on a 7.
I'm upset about it.
Right, okay.
You know, anyway, I've made a point about the pennies.
All right, thanks,
and
Bert.
I think we all, your listeners will actually, obviously, will be aggravated by the same, like yourself.
I'm sure they're aggravated about no end of things.
If I paid that, if I put that on my scales, the amount of pennies that I have, and I carry them around.
I'll tell you what is a good idea, is to always carry around 9 pence. Because at the end of the day, you're bound to have bought something that cost some amount of pennies. And rather than get the shrapnel in change, if you take 9 pence around, that will cover you for at least one purchase, right?
I like the word you use.
You'll just get rid of it.
I like that, Nick, shrapnel.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Memories to me, I tell you, been
All right, thanks a lot, Bert.
Thanks very
Cheers.
much.
Ta-da. Yeah, give them to your newsagent. If he wants your business, he'll take your shrapnel, right? But eventually they're going to have to get rid of the pennies, because they're really, I mean, silver is one thing, but pennies, they just look like they attract dirt, and 2p pieces and all. I was reading, did you see the Tube Announcer's website? You know that lady who does Mind the Gap? Of course, she got herself in a bit of hot water by announcing things that she shouldn't oughta. Have you been to her website yet?
No, I haven't.
This is going to make her career.
What did she say that she shouldn't have?
And she wisely hasn't taken the announcements off her website, because her traffic has gone up from something like 15 hits a day to 300,000 hits a day. And so this is going to make her, she's going to get so much work through this. In fact, I wanted to record some of her bits and play them on the show, but under the terms and conditions part, no part of this site must be used to broadcast or disseminate in any way in Britain, Europe, the universe, or, and all that stuff. So I thought, well, I better not. But I can read it, though, right? I thoroughly recommend you go, because some of them are really funny, and the straight-faced way in which he puts them makes it all the more amusing. Amid the packed this is from The Guardian. Amid the packed carriages, interminable delays, and passengers listening to their MP3 players too loudly, her voice has been an oasis of calm, soothingly reminding passengers on the London Underground to mind the gap. But the career of Emma Clark, the voice of the tube, may have come to the end of the line. Actually, that's not true. It's going to take off from this point on, because she'd just be stuck staying mind the gap for the rest of her life. She'd be the mind the gap lady. No, she's going to get a lot of work from this. And you'd have thought that she would have taken it off straight away, that it would have been the default position of somebody who's got the full ire of their employer swiveled upon them, would have taken it off, would have taken the insulting messages off the website. But no, it must have been her, I bet her agent, or maybe she just had the good sense to keep them on there. Because people will, the amount of traffic that's going to listen to these things, just through the roof. London Underground has said it will not be offering the voiceover artist any more work after she appeared to criticise the transport system in a newspaper interview. Her comments were published after she produced a series of joke announcements for her website. She's reported as saying that when she was living in Highgate, North London, she used to take the tube every day, but stopped using it because it was dreadful. Well, that's right. It was the Northern Line. It's rubbish.
Oh, terrible. One of the worst lines.
Yeah. Clark, 36, from particularly on, if you're just above where it splits at the top. If you're on Highgate on one side and Hampstead on the other.
Yeah.
Yes. Edgware Road and High Barnet, right?
Yeah, High Barnet.
Yeah. Terrible. I mean, how many times have you seen over and over and over again? There's never a train to where you're going. It's like the District Line, though, where it splits at Earl's Court. Anyway. Clark, 36, from Cheshire, has said that the comments were taken out of context. I did not say that the Northern Line was dreadful, she said. What I did say was dreadful was the thought of being in a tube train listening to my own voice. Ah. Well, see, that's all right. Oh. In one spoof announcement on her website, she says, "We would like to remind our American tourist friends that you are almost certainly talking too loudly."
That's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, come on, London Transport. Give her a job back. Get a sense of humour, will you? London, wait a minute. But London has also come in for some not-so-gentle mockery. Residents of London, she says, are reminded that there are other places in Britain outside your stinking city, and if you remove your heads from your backsides for just a couple of minutes, you may realise that the M25 is not the edge of the earth. They also reminded that a smile is a friendship signal, not a sign of weakness. Hey, ain't that the British disease?
Yeah.
Unless you're frowning furiously at someone, you're not odd, innit? That's your problem, Alex. Stop frowning.
Sorry.
Mind you, it does get you out of tickets, eh?
Yeah.
Put the fear of God in people, you are.
I'm not very scary, really, though. It's all an act.
Yes. Other gems of advice include, here we are, crammed again into a sweaty tube carriage. If you're a female, smile at the bloke next to you and make his day. He's probably not had sex for months. Clark, who's worked for London Underground since 1999, created a website this month. She did it this month, and already she must have had 1 million hits on there already. After her friends asked her which announcements they would like to hear. She asked her friends which announcements they would want her to do. One of which was, passengers are asked not to drop litter. Please use the tramps provided. A spokesman for London Underground said some of the spoof announcements are very funny, but Emma is rather silly to go slagging off her clients' services. Obviously, we employ somebody to represent or promote the network. One of the things we require is that they refrain from publicly attacking the services they are employed to promote. Indicating that they should really loosen up a bit. Commuters will still hear Miss Clark's warnings until a replacement can be found. London is a big city, and we're confident we'll be able to find an alternative voice of the tube, said a TfL spokesman.
A big stinking city.
Yeah.
That should read.
To prove the tube network is not devoid of humour, the spokesman added, London Underground is sorry to have to announce that further contracts for Miss Clark are experiencing severe delays. Some of the others were, would the passenger in the pinstripe suit and the £1,000 glasses who obviously works in the media please take one step forward onto the track? Would passengers filling out their Sudokus please accept that they are just crosswords for the unimaginative and are not more impressive because they contain numbers? With the passenger in the red shirt pretending to read a paper but who is actually staring at that woman's chest, please stop. You're not fooling anyone, you filthy pervert. And finally, passengers should note that the bearded man's rucksack contains the following items only: sandwiches, a library card, and a picture of a bare ankle, and is no cause for concern. It's 9:15. Travel now with Karen Mercer.
The A2 in Bermondsey closed as you head...
Studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Boreham Wood. Paul.
Hello?
Yes, Paul.
Oh, hi. I want to talk to you about a parking ticket. Something I stumbled on, which I'd like to share with the rest of London. If you feel you've been given a ticket incorrectly, I return to my car. I won't bore you with the ins and outs of why I felt it was incorrect.
Right.
But it wasn't correct that they gave me this ticket.
Yeah.
I was arguing with the warden, and the usual thing they say to you is you have to write in. And,
yes.
Well, I was actually in a temper. I said, this is wrong. And he said, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I said, right, you stay here. I want you to wait here and call your supervisor along. So if you've got time in your hands, and obviously a lot of London, being in London as you don't have much time on your hands, I waited there for 15, 20 minutes. I wouldn't let him move. He was getting really aggravated.
You wouldn't let him move?
I wouldn't let him move.
Well, what do you mean?
I said, you stay here. I want your supervisor to come along. And I was getting quite angry.
Well, were you physically preventing him from moving?
No, I wasn't physically stopping. I was just like, when he tried to move, I said, oh, he's come back here. I want you to stand here till your supervisor comes. I want to deal with this now. I'm not writing in.
Right, you're frightening me, Paul.
No. So the supervisor came along. I pleaded my case, told him what had happened, and he said, OK, we'll void the ticket, and he called it a spoilt ticket. Huh. So when a warden says they can't actually, they can't do anything with the ticket once it's been issued, it's absolute rubbish. They call it a spoilt ticket, they sign it off, and that's it. You never hear another thing. Huh. And I asked the warden, I said, did you need to call your supervisor along to do this? So he said, well, no, I can spoil tickets myself, but I waited for the supervisor to come along because I wanted to check on this one. Right. So I got away with it there and then on the spot. And this was in Westminster. I'm not sure how it goes to the rest of London. Westminster might have just different rules. But if you're going to hold a warden there for 20 minutes while you're bringing the supervisor along, he's going to think to himself, well, maybe I'll spoil this ticket because I can go and do another 3 or 4 cars. And if they're working on commission, time is money, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was just, I wanted to share with everyone to tell them to, fight your corner while you're there on the spot and demand that supervisor, and you might do the same as well.
Well, I'm going to pack some manacles in the boot from now on, and I'll be lashing parking attendants to the railings every time I get done, yeah.
Well,
all right.
You obviously don't be physical.
I wouldn't even dream of it, no. All right, thanks, Paul.
I'd like to. OK, thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye. I did not know that. So they do have the power. I went through that whole thing because I was over at another place playing smooth music, and it was a Sunday morning, and I parked on one road, and I was I would swear, like I know my own name, I know where I parked. I came out from doing my super show, and my car wasn't there anymore. And so I called the police. I said, maybe I've had my car nicked. And they said, oh, no, ho, it's been towed or lifted. And so I got it back from that place underneath Park Lane. The walk of death down that corridor in Park Lane. I swear it's like about a mile long. And it looks like something out of, you remember Get Smart? That program from the 60s in America where the guy's just walking down an endless corridor with the doors slamming behind him. It looks like something out of that, or like some sort of futuristic spy horror film. It's the corridor, it's the longest corridor I've ever seen in my life. And you go into Park Lane, the underground car park, and you'll see a queue of lorries with cars on the back of them queuing to deliver these cars that they've lifted off the road. Well, it's a great racket they've got going. And you walk down this corridor, and about halfway down you start to get a bit worried. You think, well, first of all, you can't really see the end. It looks like the corridor that never ends. And secondly, if someone were to attack you in this corridor, you would probably never be found ever. Just come across your skeleton when they're digging it up in 100 years' time. Anyway, when you get to the end of it, you see the extent of their little business that's going on there. Hundreds and hundreds of cars in cages waiting for their poor
sounds like a
soul
horror film.
owners to come back, and of course they won't get their keys. What was that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Left the phone on.
How very unprofessional. I mean, I know you're drunk on your last day and all, but...
Tanked up. Off my head.
Yeah. And they won't give you your keys to your car back until you've given them something like £200, whether you dispute the validity of the ticket or not. And you have to go and plead your case to the council, which I did, because I knew that I hadn't parked where they had photographed my car. I would swear that they picked my car up from a legal spot, put it where it wasn't legal, in a residence zone, photographed it, and then picked it up and put it on a lorry again. I would go to my grave swearing that that's what happened. But they didn't believe me because they had the evidence of a car of the picture. But there's absolutely no way I parked in the spot that they said that I did. So there's something suspicious going on in the heart of London.
So really, they kidnapped your car?
Yes. Help, I'm being abused.
You wouldn't think that was going on in modern-day London,
No,
would
you wouldn't. Either that or I've lost my mind. What? Here is Hammersmith. Hello, Roy.
Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
All right, thanks.
Oh, listen, your studios are in near Ladbroke Grove, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I work fairly close to your studios. I won't say exactly where, but I work fairly close in a road not far from you. I started a new business about 3.5 weeks ago in one of those business start-up places close to where you are.
Yeah.
Have a guess how much I've run up in parking tickets for all clamps and a congestion charge in just 3 weeks.
Well, you'll have to tell me.
Well, it's topping £700.
What?
What? I'll tell you what, I would cry. Yeah, I feel like crying over it, but like, it's almost become a joke.
Well, hang on a minute, Roy. I mean, if at first you don't succeed, why try again? I mean, if you get a ticket once, don't park there anymore.
Well, you know the area of London you are, and when you're starting a new business, you have to pop out for stamps and banking and things like that. I live in Hammersmith. I have to cross over the congestion charge.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks, I've had 3 parking tickets, 2 late payments on a congestion charge, and a wheel clamp, on top of the on top of the normal congestion charge going in and out. Okay, and when you're starting a business and you're not earning any money, can I tell you, right? It is painful.
Well, I'd have to say that there's probably a lot of people who don't have any sympathy for you at all. I mean, if you're starting a business and money is tight, then, well, first of all, to get fined for a late payment, well, you've only got yourself to blame there, Roy.
Oh, you certainly have, Nick. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But how easy is it, when you've got things on your mind to miss a day?
Well, true enough.
You're not talking late payment with 30 days to pay. If you miss a day, it starts going up. 2 or 3 days on a congestion charge, it goes from £8 to £50.
Well, okay, late payment on a congestion charge, that does deeply irritate me, yeah.
No, that's what I was talking about, of course, okay?
Well, I hope your business goes better from this point on, all right? And my advice to you is don't park your car on the street around here, because some hooded oik will smash your window and root around in your glove box for your sat-nav.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happened to me. Huh?
Yeah, they're traffic wardens, aren't they? I mean, mind you, they won't look around your car compartment. They want to get deep in your pocket, so we've got to be there.
Right.
So, anyways, have a good evening, Nick.
All right, cheers, Roy.
Right, take care, bye-bye.
Ta-da. Maybe the tube would be a good idea.
Get an Oyster card. Not easier.
Barnsley. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Nick.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You?
Great, mate.
Yeah, when I was in London, I saw that the tube was the best way to get around.
The tube.
Yeah, even though it was stuffy and stuff.
It can be the best way to get around if it works perfectly. If it's not working, if there is a problem of any kind, it can be a living hell.
Yeah, or if it's just shower. Because we used to have to get back to our hotel, like, before the rush hour started.
Yeah.
And get out of the hotel afterwards.
The only problem, particularly with this time of year of being on the tube, is everyone is coughing and sneezing and coughing in their hands and then holding onto the pole, and then you put your hand on the pole and then you touch your face and suddenly you've got whatever germs that they had. That's how colds spread throughout London.
Yeah.
Public transport.
Yeah, it's not like going on the bus, though, really, isn't it? I mean, I think that you're pretty lucky to have something like that where you can get on it and it can take you from one end of London to the other.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it is a pretty good system, but if it only didn't break down so much, and if it wasn't so contaminated by people.
We were amazed by it when we first went on it, actually.
Yeah.
In tourists. But then we learnt after a while that if you stand and just let people know you're a tourist and they get really annoyed with you.
Well, I tell you why people get annoyed with tourists is tourists will do what we do when we go abroad. You'll come to the top of a flight of stairs with hundreds of people walking up behind you, and then you won't know where to go. You won't know whether to turn left or right or keep going straight on. And so you stop, and then you look for signs, and everybody starts piling into the back of you. Same as when you get off an escalator. You get off at the top and then stop, and everybody behind you is still being propelled forwards. Oh, you get onto a tube with a rucksack and you keep it on your back. Please, people, take your rucksacks off.
It took us a couple of days to figure it out, but I think it's a good system.
And people from the north, they come down here with their ruddy faces and their healthy complexions, and they talk loudly, whereas people are soft southern types like us, with our pallid faces and pasty complexions, we like to whisper under our breath so as not to make a scene. That's why we don't like you, because you just look too damn healthy. So after a long period of solid service, Helen is riding into the sunset, waving a cheery bye-bye. See ya, she says. Will you miss us?
I will.
Right.
I'll miss you.
I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say...
I love you so. I want you to know.
Yeah.
Gonna miss your love the minute you walk out that door.
Right.
Please don't go.
We'll go, Nick.
Don't go away.
We'll go.
Please don't go.
Chingford, hello, Dave.
Hello there, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. I'm sorry she's going as well.
Yeah.
The reason I called you is I heard about your business, your problem with the car, getting your car back from Park Lane.
Right.
And that corridor you walk down is
Yeah.
the corridor that's used in the opening credits of The Prisoner.
Is that right?
Yeah, a friend of mine belongs to the Prisoner fan club called 6 of 1.
Yeah.
And we were driving around down, and he said, "Oh, you know what's down there?" I said, "It's a car park." And he said, "No." He said, "They keep a lot of, like, claimed cars that they've lifted and all this sort of stuff." He said, "But that's the corridor."
So right at the beginning, when on the credits, where he's going to hand in his resignation.
Bursts in there and
Right.
comes to desk.
And he slams the thing down. And that's the corridor that he walks down. Huh.
That's the one, yeah.
Well, that's probably what I had in mind when I said it looked like the Get Smart corridor.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Maybe I had an idea of what I was talking about, but I couldn't bring it to front of my mind.
Well, I knew what you meant.
Have you ever walked down that corridor?
No, I haven't. No, I think they go there because he goes to Port Meron where they filmed it.
Yeah, that's right.
And they had these long drawn-out debates as to whether or not it was the same character as in Danger Man, was the same character in The Prisoner and all this.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. But, you know, they obviously go on these tours of where the locations were, and round the back of, I think it's round the back of round near Victoria is where his little Muse house was that he put up outside. And that's there, so they go on over.
And that's where he gets gassed.
Where he gets gassed
And
by
then
the Undertaker or something.
Yeah, and he wakes up in Port Merion and insists that he is not a number, he's a free man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought I'd let you know.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Hey, pleasure.
Cheers. Ta-da. It's a very intimidating corridor. I don't believe that a longer corridor exists. No human has ever built a longer corridor than that. It seems like the entrance is in a different postcode to where the exit is. You'd need a car to get to the end of it to pick up your car.
What is it? Narrow with?
It's fairly
doors
narrow.
all the way down.
No, there's very few doors. There's hardly any. There's hardly any way to get out of it, which does make you concerned that if a hoolie appears at the other end, you have no way of escape.
Could you see the end from the start? Was it just like...
Well, in my memory, no. It's so far away that it just recedes into the distance. If you have no conception, really, of how long it is, and you walk and you think, the end doesn't appear to be getting any nearer. Just for amusement's sake, why don't you go ahead and take a stroll down there? You can take some sandwiches, make a day of it.
Did you pass anyone else in the corridor?
No, you're completely on your own. And that's also what makes it a bit unnerving. That if anybody else did appear walking towards you, then you'd have at least 10 minutes of walking towards each other in an otherwise featureless, thin, badly lit corridor before you passed each other. It would be one of the most uncomfortable experiences of human kind.
Well, at least you could think of something to say by the time you did meet.
Yeah, morning.
All right.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Stepney Green. Hello, Ali.
Hello?
Ali.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm right there. Could I just wish Helen, could I just say bye to Helen, please?
Oh, right. He wants to say goodbye to you, Helen.
Trot! About Ian.
Are you happy with that?
I wasn't really paying attention to Helen. It's
Oh, right.
is it true, Ian Lee, left for good?
What do you think? I mean, yeah, I think so, yeah. Look at his website. There's no secret about it. He's doing fine. Catford. Hey, Trixie.
Hi.
Trixie.
Yeah, it's important we make this show as memorable for Helen as possible.
That's right.
Absolutely. Hello.
Anybody remember anything that's happened so far?
No?
No.
Oh, dear, I've forgotten what I was going to say now.
Yeah, can't even remember what is about to happen.
What is about to happen? What is about to happen?
I don't know. You tell me.
Right, now, sorry, I'm on a bit of a downer at the moment.
Oh,
yes.
poor babe.
Stop whining. Exactly. I've just checked up Cialis for you. Would you like me to tell you about it? No?
No.
Are you sure?
I'd rather remain in ignorance.
Oh, it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't want any.
Oh, all right.
I wish you'd tell the people that keep emailing me, telling me how fantastic it is. I don't want any.
Oh, yes, I get emails for it as well. If that's of any consequence.
No.
Yeah. I just want to know if it works.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I mean, I'm on the lookout, you know. I want to sort of, you know, drug somebody up with it, maybe.
I don't think that's a very nice thing to say, Trixie.
No, and then I'd be in the cemetery, wouldn't I?
Don't know what that means.
Well, I don't know.
What are you on, dear?
Exactly. Cialis, you know, brings people back from the dead.
Right.
Right. Okay. Anyway.
Yes, moving right along.
Moving right along. I've been incensed by these ruddy stories about the woman who's going to be lashed, and then this woman who was murdered by this 19-year-old drunk who was out in probation or something, and I've been freaking out about it today, actually.
Right.
I'm getting very wound up, so I thought I'd call you.
Well, don't get wound up about the stuff on the news, because...
Well, then, because it kind of parts of it I can actually relate to.
Right, well, whether you can relate to it or not, if you get wound up, if it starts to affect your mood, what happens on the news, then you're on a hiding to nothing, because as soon as one story has gone from the public's consciousness, here's another dreadful story right along behind it. That's the nature of the news.
I know, but the thing is, what happened to that poor woman who was beaten up and murdered actually happened to my mother-in-law.
Right.
My first mother-in-law. My ex-husband did it to her.
Okay, well, that's probably not...
So it's all, you know, so it all kind of sort of, it's all a bit sort of, you know...
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Thanks for bringing us down, Trixie.
Oh, thanks a lot. All right, yeah. Well, anyway, I can't think of any good jokes for Helen. Now, you can think of something.
Oh, yeah, don't put you on the spot or anything. You want me to come up with a joke?
Yeah, please. Just cheer me up, please.
All right, what's this? It's a dead one of those. There you go. It's the only joke I know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, you can use that with my compliments, all right?
Jeez, thanks. And good luck, Helen.
Yeah, good luck, Helen.
Bye.
She's saying nothing. Hey, Helen.
Hey, Nick.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I bet you can't wait. Oh, I've done that one already.
I don't like comedy.
You don't like comedy?
No, I don't want a joke.
Right, don't like to have a laugh?
I quite like your joke.
What, my joke? Yeah, that's the only one I know.
I've not heard that.
You had it in you.
I've not heard that since I was 7.
It's one of the best, though, eh? I don't know any jokes
Rock
at all.
on Tommy, apparently, it was funny to you yesterday.
Yeah. See? Alex is laughing even now, 24 hours later. I don't know any jokes. Anybody know any jokes? Do you know any jokes, Alex? I mean, the only kind of joke that I can ever remember is the buffalo and the bison joke, but it's not really a joke that anybody over the age of 7 would want to tell. Jokes.
Everyone knows loads of jokes when they're at school. You don't really have use for them.
I know the
you get
joke.
older.
I know the joke that you can make up and embellish at will, which is the aristocrats joke. Boy, have I got an act for you! And there was a film made of that joke called The Aristocrats, where the Americans say aristocrats. You're looking at me confusedly.
What's the joke?
Well, I'm not going to tell the joke because it's the rudest joke,
Oh.
famously the rudest joke in the world, and it doesn't have a set script that you just embellish. A man comes into an agency and says, "Boy, have I got an act for you," and the agent says, "Oh, what do they do?" And then there's this long piece that I'll take out for a public consumption, and then at the end he says, what's the name of this act? I'm completely spoiling it for you. You won't have any idea what I'm actually talking about, but that's the only joke that I can remember, because it's a joke that you don't have to remember. You can make it up, you see.
But that's why I don't like comedy, because whenever you say to people, have you got a joke, that they haven't, or they've got something like that, which is really boring.
Yeah.
The only one I can remember is from the Monty Python, the funniest joke sketch, where they can't say it because it's so funny it has to be kept secret.
Right.
And then it's used against the Germans in the war.
But they never actually revealed the joke, then,
Oh,
did
they do. They do right at the end.
Oh, right.
Shall I say it?
Yes, okay. This will be
rubbish.
An hilarious moment.
Yeah,
if only I had
suitable sound effect.
Well, no. If only I had some sort of fanfare in order to introduce it, but unfortunately not. No. So you'll have to go ahead and knock us out.
It's been built up now. Can only go downhill.
Yes, which I expect it will rapidly.
There was 5 peanuts walking down the Straße, and one was a salted peanut.
And then that happens, I just cringe, and it's not funny.
But you just ruined the joke yourself. In fact, it was your concern about whether we'd got the joke where you added the word peanut on the end.
No, that's what they do in the sketch, because that's the punchline is so not funny that they put the peanut at the end to ruin the joke themselves.
Right. So for accuracy, you did that too.
Yes.
Hence the humour. It's 9:45. Travel news now with Karen Mercer. Hello. It is 9:45, isn't it? 9:44 and a half. Maybe I've gone 30 seconds too early. Oh no. Okay, there's going to be some little local difficulty up your end, and around the M25 it's all screwed up as usual. Or not, as the case may be. I haven't got the faintest idea what I'm talking about, and I hope that that's clear.
Well, she's just logging in again, apparently, whatever that means.
Oh, well, you should have said logging in, is she? Shall I go again?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, why not? It's a professional show, let's just do it time and time again till we get it right. 9:45. Here's travel news with Karen Mercer.
Well, on the M20, there's a lane blocked as you...
Abbot. And so, the end is near as we draw our final curtain, or something like that.
If you leave me now,
Helen.
you'll take away the biggest part of me.
This part.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
Oh! Please don't go.
Don't beg. It doesn't look good.
No. A lot of people have called with jokes, which makes me very concerned.
I'm concerned about Trevor's the most.
Really? All right. I'll put him at the bottom of the list. It's Robert from the Rhondda.
And I'll start with a joke.
No, don't.
No, I'm not going to. I'm joking. That's a joke.
Ha, 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 ha.
I'm a wit. Anyway, good evening.
How are you?
Oh, you know, speaking to you, I get excited.
Oh, yeah, you sound thrilled.
Woohoo! Anyway, it's that time of the year when people have Christmas parties.
Yeah, which apparently have been banned now. We don't have much time to do this now, but office parties are dying out because of health and safety reasons. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
Oh, that's rubbish. That's just... Did you get that from the Sun or the Mail?
The Daily Telegraph.
Oh, that was the third choice. Yeah. Don't believe it. And Christmas is not being banned, and all the other ridiculous stories you read. Everything's normal. Calm down.
Right.
Anyway, yes, so I need some advice on what to go as.
What to go as?
It's a theme. Fancy dress.
Right, what's the theme?
It's quite loose, so to speak. It's the decades. But I'm going as in the 80s.
The decades?
Just pick a decade and come dressed in that decade.
Well, what would the 80s be?
Well, I'm thinking about going as a new romantic. It's an excuse to put a lot of makeup on.
A lot of makeup on, yeah, right.
And look bizarre.
Well, that might go down well up your end, Rob, but we live in a sophisticated city.
I'm coming to your city next week, actually.
Right, don't do it.
No, I have to. I have to meet someone very important.
Oh, really? Anyone you know?
No.
Oh, right.
We met on the internet. No, I'm joking. No, so, I don't know. What shall I go as? Margaret Thatcher is also another choice.
Yeah.
But, 80s.
Well, a new romantic might be, you'd need a jacket with very thin lapels and a very, very thin tie, preferably one with piano keys written on it.
I was thinking as Adamant in his Prince Charming days.
Right. Yeah, that's possible. But do you have a lot of piratical gear?
Strange enough, yes. I had to do a film last week just as a pirate.
Oh, right. So you have that whole Corsair thing down.
I do, but I found a decent website that rent costumes. There's so many. And it's rather rent one for the cheap rather than buy this rubbish and never wear it again.
The only fancy dress costume I've ever worn was an American Lags costume, a grey suit with arrows on it, as though I were in prison, which was actually the most comfortable. It was actually just pyjamas with arrows sewn on them. It was the most comfortable costume. It was one of the most comfortable things I've ever worn in my life. And everybody else was dressed up with, like witches' hats and fake noses and parrots on their shoulders and the whole thing. And I was in my pyjamas.
What was the theme? Or they had no theme?
I don't think it was a theme, no.
That's been cold.
In fact, I looked like I just stepped out of Issey Miyake.
Who?
Oh, he's,
dead now.
No, I don't believe he is. No, he's a crazy Japanese clothes designer.
Oh, right, fair enough. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Did you read this thing yesterday? I was evil and put another radio station on this morning. It's the one with the loudmouth who writes in the Sun.
Oh, blimey. There's so many. But go on.
John Gaunt.
Oh, right.
Anyway, he had this MP on, a North Welsh MP, who wants to change the Union Jack.
Yes, that was in a lot of papers today, yeah. That's not going to happen.
Well, people get irate, saying, oh, you shouldn't tamper with the flag, or they can put on next the Polish flag, and all this kind of hilarious witticisms.
Yeah.
You know, people in Wales are very offended.
Well, just wave your Welsh flag about.
Can't.
Why not? You love waving your Welsh flag about.
We're banned. We're not allowed to.
Why not?
Oh, just an excuse English people make for their flag. No, it should be represented. It's horrible.
But the whole thing with the flag is very bizarre. This has to be the only country in the world that has given up its own flag because some right-wing people who most of the population disagree with, have appropriated it or just used it occasionally for their own purposes. And as a nation, we threw up our hands and said, "Oh, right, okay, well, it's yours now." We don't, we would be embarrassed to fly our own flag. There can't be another nation on Earth that reacted like that. It's like somebody steps on your shoes and you apologise.
Well, it's partly true, but I don't think this country has ever been a flag-waving country. I mean, if you think of the growth of the right wing of the 70s, I'm sure people in the 50s were waving flags outside post offices and everything else. People imagine they do, like...
Well, I'm not sure that's true. In the 50s specifically, there was the coronation, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. Apart from... Yeah, well, they had the Queen's Jubilee a couple of years ago. People were flying the flag then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it comes up from a special occasion. But this country, I don't think in our psyche we have a flag-waving kind of thing like America does.
But don't you find... I quite enjoy seeing flags, not because I'm a Nazi, but just because it's quite a nice flag, and it just sort of is a nice thing to see. I mean, when England is in a football sporting tournament, you can remember back that far, can't you? Then, you know, white vans will have the England, the Cross of St George on their windows. And I gain pleasure from that, seeing it outside people's bedrooms and so on.
I'm sure nobody's got a problem with that. But, you know, having it outside every school or singing the anthem every 5 minutes...
Well, that's different. That's different. But just flying the flag, we shouldn't be embarrassed to fly the flag. It's ours.
I'll fly the flag. Fly the flag if you want. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, I'll wrap myself in it. Why not?
Good idea. In fact, I might go as Jerry Halliwell to this fancy dress party. On that note, I'll leave you there.
All right, cheers.
Little Pip.
It's Burton on Trent. Oh, Adrian.
Oh, well, Nick, so you're losing an awful juice to them. That's something, isn't it?
They're, yeah, it must be me.
I say, what are you doing to them, man?
It's not my fault. They were like that when I got here.
You're going to end up with a reputation, you know.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
You're like sort of the Dr. Evil of radio.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And you're like your hand hovering over the buttons.
A couple of weeks with me, and then suddenly they suspiciously disappear. Hey, Helen!
I like your new name. The Dr. Evil of radio.
Yeah, don't start that, Adrian.
Oh, no. Then you'll start on me again. I don't want you to do that.
No. Let's be nice.
Yeah, be polite, as you keep saying.
Quite.
Yeah, I'm full of it myself, so.
Get on with it.
Yeah. These people that call you every day, yeah, like, now and again you get people calling you trying to sell you something. I've had for the last week or so somebody trying to phoned every day trying to sell me a different broadband service.
I find the ones where you answer the phone and there's a long period of silence and then a taped message chirps
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Hello. and at that point I put the phone down because, you know, who needs to... Because I half expect that they've reversed the charges in some evil and underhand way.
Yeah, because I think from a foreign country they can actually get away with that, can't they?
Yeah.
But I think some of them also, when you put the phone on, sometimes you don't get answered at all. I think what a lot of them do now is just ring a load of numbers at random, and whoever is unlucky enough to answer the line first is the one that gets them.
Right. And I think that's the case. That's why I unplugged my fax machine. I now don't... my fax machine is in the cupboard now, and I won't have it attached to the line, because as soon as companies realise that you have a fax number, then they're dialing 24 hours a day. 3 o'clock in the morning, there's something for something that you'd never need if you lived it to be 1,000, and they're waking you up with that stuff.
People still use fax machines. I thought email had...
killed the fax machine, much like video killed the radio star. No, I think people still use fax machines, yeah.
You know, you think that'd be on... Well, you're doing your bit to save the environment.
Exactly,
as well.
yeah.
By unplugging it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you must be really important then, to need a fax machine. So no, the private people normally have one. You know what I mean? It's usually what you think of a company.
Oh, blimey, I don't know, Adrian. I'm not a private person.
When you're in the public eye.
I just want to be alone, that's all. Anyway, you got any jokes for us? No? Oh, that is good.
I've got one if you want one.
How long is it?
Not too long.
Oh,
I went to the pizza shop the other day, and Good King Wenceslas was in front of me. And he said to the assistant, he says, I'll have the usual. And the assistant looked puzzled, and he says, I don't understand. He says, you know, deep pan, crisp and even. Didn't say it was any good.
Say goodbye, Adrian.
Goodbye.
Oh, God. Are any of these better?
No, I'm really anxious.
Are you? You don't want it to...
My eyelid is twitching.
You don't want your last moment on the station to be a disaster.
My heart is racing.
Racing, right. I've got some pills for you if you like. I'll give you a rainbow-coloured selection.
Thank you, that would be lovely.
Right. Yeah.
Go on, play Russian roulette.
No, I don't want to now.
Oh, I need cheering up, can I?
Stansted, hello, Pat.
Oh, hello there.
Pat, is it a very, very short joke?
It's more a very funny situation.
Oh, do we do situations? I'm not sure about that.
Well, it's worth listening to.
Right, you've got 1 minute.
1 minute, right. Cab driver in London gave Tommy Cooper a ride back home, and he was thrilled to bits that he'd had such a famous chap in his cab. And as he left, Tommy Cooper paid him. He said, by the way, he said, do have a drink on me. And Tommy Cooper tucked something into the pocket of the cab driver's jacket. Of course, he thought, well, that's good. When he took it out, it was a tea bag.
Oh.
I thought that was rather funny.
It was safe, Pat, and you are a safe pair of hands at the end of this programme. Yeah. Good for you.
Okay, then.
Thanks, Pat. Tommy Cooper, do we not miss Tommy Cooper? Absolutely. He was so funny. All he had to do was to walk on stage and go, and the entire audience would be in hilarity. So, is there anything you'd like to say before we pass sentence upon you? What have we dealt with so far on this show?
The Queen.
Yeah.
President Bush. Tony Blair.
Yes.
Quite serious at the start.
Right.
PMQs.
Yes.
Vince Cable.
Faster.
Annie Leibovitz. Parking.
Annie who?
Court Jester, Dieting, Mind the Gap Woman, Emma Clark, The Tube, and Those Rubbish Jokes.
Right.
That was it.
Blimey. We managed to spin that out for 3 hours. It's the genius of you. We'll miss you, Helen. Good luck in your next endeavour.
Thanks, Nick. We'll miss you.
Wherever horrible that may be. Ta-ta.
Rock on, Tommy.
97.3 DAB.